Questions, so many questions. Hey, everybody, RT Bear here coming to you live from Hack Shack Studios. We got a doozy of a show, a bros show for you. We got a full house here. All 6 of us have showed up. I see an empty chair. It may be Billy's. I don't know. It could be funny if he doesn't come back in time. But yeah, we're gonna do a Q&A show for you guys, and we each on our Twitter, Facebook, we solicited questions, and boy, did we get some questions for our group to answer. And it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. And if we have some extra time towards the end, we're just going to go right to the chat, and we're going to see what you guys think. So ask the bros anything. I think we got over 100 years of comic book experience here on this live stream, and it'll be fun to see what you guys ask and how we answer them. So without further ado, well, you know what? I think that how we usually do this is we introduce or we say hi. Let's say hi first. So we got Blackjack, Hell CG. We got Marcus Killigrew, Hell Blackjack. We got Past Master. It seems like he dropped something. He went, oops. So I'm always dropping shit. Let's see. We got Jefferson, Roswell. Where are the bros? We are here. We are here. We are here. You thought I was going to say queer, but we are not queer. No way. No how. Never. Art, did you get lucky? I'm the luckiest SOB you'll ever see. Everything I want, everything I strive for, it all happens because I'm lucky. Lucky in love. Marcus says, yo, Art. Okay. Oh, there it is. Leg kick. Leg kick. What's up, Hell? Well, introduction's done. Let's get our bros in the house. And first question, Dan Frega, why are you so damn adorable?
You said there's 100 years between us. Speak for yourself.
Well, I mean, if you add us all up.
I'm just talking, start off with you, we're at 100. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, yeah. I say something nice about how adorable you are, and then you throw me under the bus.
No, you're adorable. You have hair, man. I got I'm what is that lady's name? Nancy Gelosi. I am Nancy Gelosi, man. I wish I could do something with this nothing. But it's like what do you call it? Bert. Remember Ernie and Bert from Sesame Street? This little tuft. Little tufty tuft. Yeah. I'm a tough guy. So what's happening, Art? Happy Tuesday to you. Happy Tuesday to the chat. I hope everybody's doing great. Very excited to answer these questions. I didn't get that many, but maybe I did it wrong. But I got great questions, so I'm very excited. Very excited to answer them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the amount. It just matters how good they are. Yeah.
I've heard that paraphrased about other things.
About other things.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's get the grumpiest guy that I know. Actually, he's not the grumpiest guy I know, and he's not the angriest guy I know. I actually know people that are far grumpier. But he's self-proclaimed grumpy old Aaron Lopresti. Look at that face.
Who I knew who it was. I knew who it was.
Happy. I'm joyful. You know, I got over 20 questions, but 15 of them involved people asking to borrow money. So I don't know if I really have the broader questions that I thought I was going to get, the breadth.
Well, I was thinking what they were going to do is ask about Shelley, because she seems to be the topic du jour most of the time.
She is.
Yeah. Everybody loves Shelley.
Everybody does. It could be a sitcom.
Yeah. Everybody loves Shelley and the grumpy old Aaron.
That's right. I'm just a supporting character in the background. I come walking in and say my grumpy, funny line and just walk through the house occasionally and drop a...
Yeah, but for some reason, you'll be the star of the show, just kind of like All in the Family. You think the grumpy guy is going to be most hated, and then he becomes the most popular.
Well, then I'd get a spin-off series, see? So
yeah.
Yeah,
Meathead didn't quite make the cut in All of the Family. So speaking of meatheads.
Wow.
Whatever do you mean?
Whoa.
Meathead.
What the hell?
Wow.
I'll give you a meathead.
What the fuck?
What?
Somebody taking their
I've-
TRT, bro? What's going on?
Testosterone.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Oh shit. Tell us to roll out.
Roll out. Optimus Prime.
This special effect.
Autobots.
Oh,
Unite.
shit. Hey, say domo domo.
Domo, Domo,
Mr. Roboto.
Domo.
Okay, that sounds.
Mr. Roboto. I got a lot of questions. And yes, the drapes do match the carpet.
Oh my god.
When you go gray everywhere. Everywhere.
Oh my
I don't like it.
Everywhere.
I like that one's fantastic.
Everywhere.
I want to hear all
Damn
of
looks fantastic.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
Aaron,
the
that garbage man shirt really makes you look manly.
Oh, look at that. I want that voice.
And all the jolly product in your hair. Mm. Mm-mm. Love it.
delicious.
Well, on gel and product, let's get Mr. Graham Nolan in
What
here.
does that segue even mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I got no gel and no product. I don't know what.
No
chilling.
product.
He's
Yeah.
chilling, not gelling.
I'm.
But
chilling.
hopefully, yeah, hopefully you have a bunch of questions that
do.
you will be answering. Yeah.
Yeah, I got some good ones.
Ah, killer. I like that. I like the enthusiasm. All right. I don't have the. I feel like I need to be doing a voice now after Andy.
What's your
What's my voice? This is my voice.
So sexy.
All right. Well, we were hoping for an empty chair, but instead we got Billy Tucci.
Motherfuckers, happy Tuesday. You want me
Did
to
you
lead it?
start off? You started off with motherfuckers. Is that it?
I said motherfucker.
Mudda.
Motherfucker.
my neighbors?
Oh, can I go get my pipe? Graham Nolan's smoking a cigar. Are you having a drink, Graham?
I don't have a
Yeah.
drink with me.
I have a drink, Billy.
Oh, it was Dan. Yeah. Dan's got some grape juice.
It's grape juice.
Keeping it natural.
And Aaron's
here.
got vodka.
Yeah, keeping it natural right here.
Yeah.
With a little-
Because
good old
vodka comes in those water bottles now.
Mm-hmm.
That's
They
how
do when you
real
have a problem.
alcoholics. Yeah, that's how real alcoholics hide their problem is.
I could drink
right.
water out of a shot glass and we could pretend it's gin or vodka or something.
Gin. I used
Yeah,
to drink.
no-
I got
nobody
desperate once I
else-
started drinking gin right out of the bottle. I was so wasted.
The four of us are like Dean Martin in that everybody thought he was a drinker, but it was all fake. Aaron is the
Yeah.
only one of us that actually has shot glasses as part of his campaign. That's hardcore.
Yeah.
He's the real deal.
That's
Yeah.
that's actually keep my wife happy.
And just off to the side, you can't see it, but he's got a wet bar set up in the studio.
Right,
Right.
there, baby.
Just like Dean Martin when he'd come onto his show and he'd walk over to that wet bar and make himself a drink. First
Iced
off, man,
tea.
we should iced tea.
Yeah,
They're always smoking cigarettes and had a drink in their hand, and
yeah.
And it
You
was
know when
all-
the Rat Pack was on stage, there was only two guys that were really drinking, and they were
Who? They were the crew.
There were only two guys that weren't drinking. I should
Oh,
say. Yeah,
who weren't?
they were all drinking, with the exception of Dean Martin and what's the comedian guy's name?
Joey
Jerry?
Bishop.
Joey Bishop.
Joey Bishop?
Dino. I thought Dino was lit all the time. Like I have
it's
all
all an
the
act.
Dean. I have all the Dean Martin. The show that he did, his own
Roasts.
show.
Yeah.
No, not the roast. He
Oh,
had like
the
a
Dean
Dean
Martin
Martin show.
Yeah, that's
And,
the one where he'd walk over and make himself a drink, right? The first
Yeah,
thing.
and then he'd like smooth talk
Yeah.
the ladies. Yeah.
It was
Did he,
iced
so
tea.
was he a drinker or no? He was, right?
No.
But not.
Who, Dean?
It was
I mean, he
all
probably
it was
had
it was
some occasionally,
kayfabe.
probably, but he didn't
Right.
do it on the show. His family said that it was all an act.
That's great.
Family said it was an act.
Yeah, and his neighbors.
Family is forever going to be a cuss
Right.
word for us.
It's
Yes.
it's a code word.
It's a code word.
What's up with my neighbors, yo?
That's right. What's up,
Dang.
family?
Family. So everybody's doing good. Got some questions going. We got about 2 hours. We usually run about 2 hours. This is a rotating show. The Bros. So every week, each one of us host and come up with our own topic. And so the topic du jour is Q&A. So we solicited on our social media questions. We all got a bunch of doozies, and we're going to read those off, and we are going to do our best to answer them. So it almost feels like a quiz show, kind of like one of those Aaron shows, like Q&A. Ask a question and come up with an answer. And so first in line, we had Daniel Frega.
I hate that. I feel like I'm in court or something. Arthur.
Oh, Daniel?
Yes.
Well, you are.
You
swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the
questions.
truth.
And you're calling me Daniel. I feel really strange right now.
Where were you on the night of the 14th?
Yeah, that was Valentine's Day. I was fucking. All right. Let's see.
Did you say you were fucking?
I said I was totally gay.
Wow.
He's back
We filled
there.
it in.
That piece of he's getting back there. That mother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He can't hear. He's swinging at nothing. Look at that kid.
Yeah.
What are you
swinging
feeding him?
VR bites.
He
Okay.
has VR goggles on.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay. So I didn't get a lot of questions, but I got great questions.
Okay.
And I can go with. I'm gonna go with what I'm gonna go with. I took a little screenshot of the comments.
My mic is cracking. Somebody says my mic is cracking.
Yeah, you got a little
It
bit
is
of sizzle,
crackling and popping.
little sizzle on the
breaking.
edges.
Okay.
You might want to adjust the gate.
The gate?
I'll try.
The gain. The gain.
Or the game?
Gain and the gate, so it cuts it.
How do I access that from here?
So 2 of the questions came from one person. So okay. So James Murphy asks on Facebook, he asks, of all the fields you've worked in apart from comics, what are the major takeaways or skills you've acquired outside of comic discipline, and who did you learn them from?
Good question, James.
It's a fantastic question. There are so many answers to that because I did a lot of different jobs outside of comics that were in the entertainment field. I've designed clothes. I've directed photo shoots. I've done storyboards, concept art, on-camera art, directing, supervising directing, all kinds of things. So I'm just going to list the 3 MVPs. Storyboarding the MVP there would be Brian Murray, a mutual friend of Art to Bears and mine.
Yeah.
He didn't necessarily teach me about the hell was that? He didn't teach me anything regarding the craft of the storytelling, but how to navigate the world of the entertainment business. He was one of the very first to do that and tell me how to stand strong, to ask a rate, to stand strong, to the kind of BS to avoid, to not be taken advantage of. Whenever I'd run into those sort of snags, I'd talk to him and he would say, oh, no, that's not the way things should go. It should go like this. You need to word it this way. And he was definitely there for me to navigate those sort of things.
That's good intel.
Yeah, really good.
To have someone in your corner like that.
So then the other guy, number 2, that helped me a lot, who I had done some storyboard work for, a director named Joseph Kahn. And Joseph, he's directed some movies. Yeah, same
bloodsucker.
But he's directed a lot of award-winning music videos and such. And the one thing that he was really keen on and wasn't afraid of is he never had any sort of insecurity problems. Some directors And it happens. I get it. Some directors are so protective of their jobs that they want to keep you where you are as a utility. You're really good at this, and this is what I'm going to use you for the end. And they almost to a point put their thumb on you. You know, don't answer questions, don't give opportunities. They keep you sort of in a box. Joseph was completely the opposite of that. He would see strengths in your work, he would magnify them, and he would also allow you to upgrade and make mistakes, but also give you the hardest time doing it. So what I mean by that is, you know, I had storyboarded for him for a few years, and we had done a commercial for NASCAR, Fox Sports, and it was a very, very involved commercial where there were 5 total commercials, 4 separate, and one that was edited up to 4. And it was, you guys remember the Barry Windsor Smith print series, where it was like the island where you'd see one warrior in the foreground and then another one in the background, and they were all interconnected. So you could tell they were standing on the 4 corners of the island, and each one had another one in the background. So you could tell they were in the same place, but just the camera was in different places. That's how this commercial was. It was following 4 drivers in this capture the flag. If you look up Fox Sports capture the flag on YouTube, you can see these for yourself. Very, very choreographed. They had a problem with one of their second unit directors, and Joseph said, nobody knows this spot as good as you do, including myself. You're going to direct second unit. And what that meant was anything without a racer in it, with a key person like a Dale Earnhardt Jr. or Matt Bush or these kind of guys at the time, if it wasn't major talent, it was me. So I'd have to do stunts and explosions and B-roll. And the very first, this is the lesson I learned from him, long story short, the very first shot that I had to do was in a Dale Earnhardt spot. If you look up Fox Sports capture the flag Dale Earnhardt, a thing of mobile homes falls on Dale Earnhardt, and his helmet rolls out of the dust and lands. Okay, the way it's boarded, crash, helmet rolls out. Oh my gosh, he might be dead. The first shot Joseph gave me was the helmet shot, and he gave me a camera person and a PA. So I had a camera person, a PA, and myself to get this shot where a helmet rolls on Mark, shield out, and it connects with another shot of collapsing mobile homes. So I needed dirt, I needed a piece of debris, and I needed to roll that helmet, and it needed to land on a mark perfectly as it was composed. 30 takes. During the entire time.
How many?
30. And you guys, like I said, I highly recommend you go look it up. You'll see the shot. It's beautiful. The entire time, Joseph saying, where's my shot? Where's my shot? Where's my shot? Where's my shot? He's yelling at me because he can see what's on the VTR at the same time. He's doing it on purpose. But
right.
My point is every time Joe would throw something at me, I would do what I could to rise to the occasion. And he ended up giving me tons and tons and tons of things to do. And what I learned from that is that just be quick on your feet, be elastic, and be ready for any experience, and you know, keep your mind open. Lastly, in animation, the main guy is a guy named Audu Payton. Audu Payton, fantastic director, fantastic showrunner, executive producer. He taught me at Mattel how to handle a huge project, multiple projects with a lot of cogs, a lot of things running at the same time, and every facet of it, and how to handle each one individually, and not let the cacophony necessarily get to you. You know, I learned how to do voice direction from him. I learned about a rollout of marketing. You know, not it wasn't his formula, but he would tell me to be mindful of the process. to look at an omni view of things. You know, a lot of times we get this myopic, horse-like, you know, blinders on, and we focus on the one thing. But when you can kind of look at things globally, you ask less questions, and you have a bigger understanding of the thing as a whole. And at the end of the day, it just makes you a better storyteller. You got Eric Medved, $20 super chat.
Yeah, but I'm going to ask
That
you
ain't cheap.
a question real quick, and then I'll go to Eric's. What's like the coolest thing you got to do outside of, like, not outside of storyboards, but outside of the studio of storyboards? Like sometimes, like I remember Paul Power, storyboard artist, and he used to invite me to things, and he invited me to the Die Hard where they blew up the plane. They blew it up out in the desert. And so he invited me out there. I couldn't go. Now I kick myself in the head because you see the movie and you go, oh my gosh, this is the climax of the movie. But I didn't know at the time. So what are the coolest things like that you ever really got invited to be part of or see outside of your job description?
That ties into a personality disorder that I have. It's a gift. Ever since I was a kid,
Look at Aaron shaking his head like he already knows.
I was never afraid. I was never afraid. The only time I've only been afraid twice. And one was in the presence of Frank Frazetta, and the other was in the presence of Mobius. Okay, I've never been afraid to ask questions, and I've never been afraid to ask for something. So, my first music video that I ever worked on, I said to the director, may I please come on set? And he's like, what? Storyboard artists don't normally come on set. They do the job and go. And I said, yeah, but I want to know what happens after. I want to know, after you and I went over this script and we've crafted this thing, I want to know what happens. And he was, Chris Robinson was the first guy I did a music video with. He said, yeah, come on set. So I would go, and during in between takes, I would ask people, oh, what do you do? You know, oh, we're wardrobe. Oh, that's so cool. So you guys like style them? Oh, we work with their stylist, and oh, that's cool. What do you do? Oh, we're part of the glam squad. Does the director hire you? No, we're actually hired by the artist because they like their makeup done a certain way, and like we're part of the thing. Well, how does that work, producer? Oh, that's a budget line. And I would literally just walk around set asking questions. Well, how does that work? What's that? Yeah, asking how things work. But to answer your question directly, Art, I was on the set of most of the music videos that I worked on. Every one of the movies I worked on, I was on set. So I was on set for Transporter 2.
I love that movie, except for that scene. We've already talked about it, but that movie's great.
Yeah,
the first one's fantastic.
Yeah, I was on set for, the only one I wasn't on set for was Fantastic Four 2. I was not on set for that. But I was on set for all those movies. So, and you know, it was part of the gig. And with features, it was a lot less of, with music videos and advertisements, commercials, it was more of me asking a favor to be there. And usually the answer was yes. In fact, I don't even think I got a no. It was always like, oh, this guy wants to know more. That's great. Like
Paul would say that he liked to be on the set because he could learn how things were done. So when he would do like a special effects scene, he would work up maybe 3 different approaches based on 3 different budgets, because once he got on set and would ask questions and have information like what you're talking about, he could actually board things to a budget or have a better idea of what he was boarding. So there's like the $1 million sequence, and there's the $100,000 sequence, that kind of thing.
Well, just that.
Let me get this real quick though.
Yeah.
Dan, let me get this from Eric Medved.
For sure.
All right. Eric, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. You are awesome. Hello, all. Have and do support all of your campaigns, but got an elephant in the room question for Art and Frega. What is the potential dates for receive dates for Black and White and Black Flag, 2 black books all of you guys. Stuff since I love your stuff since the '90s. CG forever. I added the forever. So for me, Eric, I am 3 pages away from having the main story done. I'm 2 panels into that 3rd page already. I'm hoping to have that page done by the end of the week. And so early September, I should be wrapped with pencils, inks. My colorist is he came in late though. So he's about 20 pages, 25 pages behind me. And Eric Weathers, who's going to letter, that guy can turn things around in days. So we should be wrapping the book itself, the artwork, print ready by the end of September. That's what I'm looking at. And then hopefully we will be in shipping mode by the end of December. So that's kind of where we're at on that, Eric. And I just updated, I think today or yesterday, I think it was yesterday, on the Indiegogo, and kind of explain some stuff and also show off a bunch of new artwork so you can see how the progress is going. So Dan.
Yeah, my answer is I have no idea. I work on it. The thing is a savage beast. I'd like to be done this year. I'd like to deliver it this year. It is the elephant in the room. It's something I deal with every day, and it's something that I'm proud to work on every day. I've got the entirety of the work I have to do, all right here with all the notes, and it's a mountain. And to give an accurate, 100% accurate answer, I can't do it. And anybody, anybody that has any specific questions, I'm happy to answer them. But mostly I'm appreciative of the patience and the people that are there, that have been waiting for it. And my job is to make it worth the wait. And that's what I'm doing.
I looked at your updates today, saw those layouts. I hadn't seen those before. Pretty killer, man.
Thank you.
Those layouts are badass.
But I appreciate the question, Eric, for sure.
And you didn't have to pay us $20 for that, but
no,
thank you.
Exactly. That was the other thing. I was thinking.
Hey, Aaron Lepresti, what are your questions? Do you have a question for us?
Yeah, well, one of the first ones I got was they asked, out of all the professionals, who's the gayest, and why is the answer Andy? And so I just
to give me.
That's two questions.
It's just an easy answer.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with being gay.
No.
Hey, Andy, do your gay
one
voice.
time in college, you fall asleep with something in your butt, you're labeled for life. What do you do?
Okay, I thought you were gonna do one of your voices. Your
Oh, I don't have that
voice.
turned on.
You don't have that?
What?
Okay.
What happened to
This
it?
is my gay voice. And by the way, Art, I would just like to say I'm so proud of you. 3 pages left out of a 13-page story. Dude, you were crushing it.
Yeah, it took me a while to get that 13 pages done, but shit, they're going to be the best damn 13 pages I've ever done in my life.
I can't wait. That's going to be the best looking ash can anybody's ever gotten.
That's even too many pages for an ash can, isn't it?
No, an ash can is usually like the book.
The whole book?
Yeah.
Not any ash can I've ever done. They were always previews. So it was like maybe 7 pages. I guess with the 2 sides, it was like 14 pages. So yeah.
Every ash can I've ever been part of, like, had the deal in it. I mean, it was supposed to be, I think the original reason behind them was to do a proof and throw them away.
No, it was to copyright.
Oh, was it?
Oh.
Interesting.
I gotta go with Art on this one. Most of the ash cans I've seen were always just primers, previews pages and stuff.
Yeah, previews, yeah.
Not full books.
Well, you had the ash cans that people do, like to kind of give people a preview and to bring a little money in up front. Then you've got the ash cans, the traditional ones with Graham and Fragger are talking about, where they would print the whole thing in black and white, like you said, to get the copyright on it, and then go ahead with the finished product. But let me actually get to my actual questions.
Wait a minute. Did you make that one up?
I did. Jonic asked me, or it's Jonnic. Jonic, maybe?
Yannick?
he said, I'd be curious to know how you see your art, meaning how do you view your style, your flavor, your refined, honed vision that it became after decades in the biz?
Holy shit.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was on a panel, well, pre-COVID. I like to say not so long ago, but that really was a long time ago, right? 5, 6 years ago.
Well, let's not count COVID out.
That's right.
Come on.
Mask
Could
up,
be
boys.
coming back.
Time for us to all start grabbing those N95 masks again.
That's it.
No, I will die before that happens.
You will comply.
No, I will not.
It's
No,
in the
I will not.
science. You don't believe in science?
Kill the monster.
Why do you want to kill my grandma again?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I know.
For a while.
They're going to come from us, of
Again.
course, with pitchforks and torches. We're
Yeah.
not wearing our masks. But anyway, so I was on this panel, and I was giving advice to somebody, and I said, if you want to get better, never get comfortable, never look at your stuff as being any good. Always look at it as being, this isn't that great, it needs to be improved. And I was pretty harsh with the guy, but I'm pretty harsh on myself. And there was other people on the panel going, hey, man, don't be so hard on the guy. And I'm like, you got to give yourself a break. And I'm like, no, you don't. You never give yourself a break. You give yourself a break, and then you start coasting. So I don't have an extremely high opinion of my artwork. But I mean, on one side of me, I know where I'm at, industry wide, kind of what niche I fit into in terms of the hierarchy. But at the same time, I think this needs to be way better than it is. I'm always thinking that. And
what's your metrics for that, though?
Well, you
Frank
look at.
Frazetta?
Well, no, I mean, it's like, seriously, if you go look at like one of, David Finch's, for example, draw streams, you're like, that son of a bitch, or
Comparison is the thief of joy.
That's right. But I have no joy in my life. That's why I'm a grumpy old Aaron.
Well, think about this. I'm sorry for tossing this in there.
Had enough time,
I
Dan.
know, but this is actually for the discussion. Okay. We have talked about the idea of sweet spots for artists, right?
Yes.
Like yours is Bernie writes, and would you say it stopped at 72?
72 through 1980. Yeah.
72 through 80, right?
Yeah.
Now, there are certain guys, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to hurt feelings because I'm friends with most of them, but there are certain guys who I wish I could freeze their style in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just stop right there because that's fucking perfect. And I would like to see more of this and maybe better storytelling or more exciting tales or whatever, but don't ever stop drawing like this. That mindset you're talking about, which I totally understand because I have it too, might end up taking you out of the sweet spot.
No, I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Because if you look at anybody who is really, really great, you go with Neil Adams, writes, and you brought up any of them, when they start at it's almost always inevitably at the tail end of their career where their stuff starts to slack off because they start to get tired of doing the job or whatever it is. And my feeling is, one thing you can look at my career and see is that I am always better than my life. We've all crapped out a few jobs here because of deadlines, whatever. But I mean, if you're just following the arc, my stuff is always better than the last stuff I did because of that. Number one, because when I first started, I really sucked. So I had a lot of room to improve. But because of pushing myself to get better, I think I have been able to do that. So there's just a huge chasm between my very first job and what I'm doing now, for example.
One of my favorite parts, just to interject for a minute, about like when you're first learning and you know how you're talking about like moving on, like when you're on a deadline and you do something and you're not 100% happy with it and it just festers, right? It just festers inside of you. But then the great thing is comics never stops, right? There's going to be another page, another panel, another job. And so I would always just go, next panel. Yep. I'm going to kick it. Next panel, I'm gonna destroy this panel before it. So I would compete with myself, panel to panel sometimes.
Yeah. Man, I was the opposite. If I drew one bad face in an issue, it was like the bad apple that spoiled the barrel. Like for real.
Oh no,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I have pages.
paralyzing. You can't let that happen.
Yeah.
But
You
it's
gotta,
happened.
there's another page, there's another panel. You got to move
Yeah.
on, and you
But
go
a
to the
couple of
next
things
one.
a couple things I learned is, and you can see this, you even look at the greats, okay? If you pay off the money pages in your book and you really knock those out of the park, if you have a subpar panel page here and there, no one's going to notice. But if you bring in the money shots, that's all anybody's going to remember. And so that's
Make them good.
Yeah, and that's something that I learned over.
Isn't that a Kubert thing? Is that the one that said like X amount of the book, like the key shots? If you nail those, then that can carry the entire 22 pages.
That's weird. McFarlane's the one that told me that.
Well, I think it predates McFarlane.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it does. But he said, "What's your favorite comic?" And I said, Dark Knight. And he goes, tell me about the Dark Knight. What's so great about it? And I'm like listing all these moments. And he's like, tell me about the moments in between. I'm like, yeah, these moments. He goes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, right, because like when you're a kid, right, or a young person, you're reading comics, and whoever your favorite artist is, John Byrne, Bernie Wrightson, whoever, you read through it and you're like, oh, that guy's great. Then as an adult, and maybe you've got a better eye, and those of us who are artists obviously develop an eye. You go back and look through the comic and you're going, God, this page blows, but you're like, this splash page is money, or this page here is money. And that's, like Dan said, that's what you remember. So I've learned all this stuff, and the stuff that I hated, like when I was working on Justice League International, I always thought, God, this blows. I go back and look at the pages now and I go, you know what, these look pretty good. So you get perspective as you move on too, but I'm always hypercritical when I'm working on a particular project and trying to bring my best to it. Now, to wrap this up, the way I view my artwork now is I've kind of embraced my style where I used to just hate it. I would see guys like Travis or J. Scott Campbell or Arthur Adams, all these guys that are just like really cool stylists, right? And I just felt like my stuff was so ordinary looking. But then this guy commented actually a couple of years ago on Twitter and described my stuff. I wish I could remember the exact quote, but it was something to the effect that, like, he goes, your style is like a 70s style with a modern flavor to it. And I'm like, that's exactly what it is. And I've sort of embraced that because as we move on in our careers and the type of styles that are acceptable in comics get so broad that why isn't my 70s, my retro with a flair of current style, why isn't that just as acceptable as someone else's style? And it is, as long as you do it well, right? And so that was the hardest thing for me to kind of get to that point where I was satisfied with the style I was working in.
But you also have timeless versus like flavor of the month. You know what I mean? Like some of these styles come and go, but if you have real chops, then your work ends up becoming, timeless. So I never thought your stuff looked dated. I thought it always looked exactly like it's supposed to be. It kept up with the moment it came out. I never looked at your stuff as that. I saw your influences and I knew those were from the past, but I never thought that it looked particularly dated.
Well, thank you. I always did, and that always bothered me, but it doesn't anymore. I've just kind of accepted, okay, this is who I am. This is the style I work in. Now make this as great as you can make it, right? Yeah. Instead of worrying about, well, Travis does this over here and Jim Lee does this over here. Why aren't I doing that? Because they do that because they're Jim Lee, they're Travis. Graham does what he does because he's Graham. Andy does what he does because he's Andy. We all do what we do based on the influences we've had over the years. And I've come to accept who I am as an artist and then just try and make that as good as possible. So
isn't it weird how it only took your entire career to get comfortable with like where you're at?
Well, one of the things,
but the part of the reason happens is because,
Graham, go ahead, and then I'm going to take Eric's super chat.
I was just going to say that's part of the reason is because the industry beats you down. It's a segmented industry, and they tell you you're a penciler, you're this, you're that, and there's guys that don't know any better who are beating you down on a monthly deadlines and stuff. When you finally cut away and you can analyze your own work and put your own spin on things without it being editorialized, or that's when real growth happens. And I think that's true for all of us that have broken away from the mainstream. Is like we're putting out better stuff than ever because it's unique and it is it's internal to us.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like is to get back to like Eric his earlier question was it's just I'm so thankful for the time that I've been given by the backers to actually pursue something that if I was still in a monthly grind situation, I wouldn't have been able to do, or it would have taken me a decade to get here. You know what I mean? Because everything's very concentrated, and I can do pretty much what I envision. But let me get this, Eric Medved, $5 super chat. Thank you. Thanks so much for the honesty. Was just curious. Quality is worth the wait. I have only met one of you. Hope to meet all eventually. Indeed. It'd be great to meet you, Eric. You're a cool guy, and thank you so much for supporting all these books.
One last observation to consider, Aaron, and this is something that I recently had the epiphany of, and maybe you guys had it before, and you're all better for it. But one of the things that hit me was that I have a lot of artists that I like, and a lot of people whose work I look at, and there's stuff I just go, oh my God, I wish. I heard you list a bunch of people where you're like, this guy. What if those tastes don't go great together? That maybe only 4 or 5 of those really can be applied to your style, and you just have to appreciate those other ones from the outside. Because it's like I run into the conflict of like, I naturally, if you put me in a room with no no reference, just a pen and paper, I can draw in a Mobius type style quite easily. If you ask me to draw in a Frazetta style, I would stumble a bit. But if you ask me to combine those two styles, I couldn't at all. But I love them both equally. So which one should I focus on? Do I focus on my propensities, or do I focus on the challenge? And do all of them belong in that recipe that is our style?
My favorite thing about all that stuff right now is I don't even think about it. You know what I mean? I'm just doing it. I used to agonize about that stuff, and now it's just like, hey, those influences are there. They're in my DNA, and however they come out that's how they're going to come out. And hopefully there's some
vampiric living, though. You have to live to 100 plus to get to that sort of comfort.
There's also artists whose work you can admire and say, oh, this is technically gorgeous, whatever. You know, like for me, Frazetta's like that. I have I've never taken anything from Frazetta. It's just, he's not in my wheelhouse. I look at it and I love it, and I go, oh my God, look at that pen work, all this kind of stuff. But I never took anything from that, you know, so I admire it from afar. Same thing with Bernie Wrightson. You know, I love to look at those Frankenstein plates and stuff, and all of his work, actually, his color work too. But it's not anything I've ever incorporated into my own style.
Yeah, I would say the same. You know, like influenced by everything. I love a lot of stuff. I look at a lot of things, but they just don't make it into the work itself. You know,
Right.
And I wouldn't say they weren't even influential. You know, some of that stuff I find great inspiration in. You know, Dan mentioned Mobius. That's one. Every time I look at that stuff, you know, it just makes me want to be, you know, a better artist. So indeed, yeah. So so did you wrap it up, Aaron?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. That was great. How about you, Mr. Nolan? What's your question?
Wow.
Wait, what about Andy?
Goes right down to the middle, just bam.
Well, wait.
Fuck
Who
that
was
Smith guy?
Wait a minute. Well, to me, you're the last one on my.
So you skip Billy.
Well, Billy was the last one in.
Who's on first, Art?
Okay.
I'm just looking at the screen and I'm
right.
below
All right,
Aaron,
well,
but that's okay.
You're
Hey,
the
we'll
boss,
do it the
you tell us.
You know what? The gay man has spoken, so we'll do it the gay man's way. So sorry about that, Graham.
Oh no,
Andy
no.
Homo Smith, what do you got for us?
Thank you. Homoerotic. Bastard. And I was just going to say, Aaron, there's not one person on this panel that thinks your art looks dated. None of us do.
No.
However, your face is a little big.
Whoa! Ouch!
Just saying.
But
That's
that
what
could
you
be
get for the
said
gay
for
joke,
all of us.
bastard. That's what you get for the gay joke.
Yep.
Well, a little levity in the room now, I guess, because I don't have any deep questions like Aaron and Dan got. I did like this one because it probably applies to all of us, and it's from Telepathic Bunny Comics. When you get told, and this, this was a few years ago that this happened when you join or say, yeah, I like CG. So when you get told by former coworkers, employers, or rabid fans of the mainstream that you will never work in the mainstream again, does that mean anything to you? No.
That's a good question, though.
It doesn't. It didn't mean anything back then because and I didn't get a ton of that, but the people that did say it to me, I mean, there's not a single one that's working in the mainstream right now either. And it doesn't bother me because honestly, there's nothing in the mainstream, and we've all talked about this before. There's nothing in the mainstream at Marvel or DC that I want to draw with their current stuff, the way it currently is.
Yep.
And there's probably only 5 people in the mainstream that are actually making a living.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
A
that's
decent
horrible.
living.
Yeah.
How many people are actually raising their families?
Yeah.
Not that they have wives or really good jobs, but how many people, in the mainstream are actually able to provide for their families?
Well, how many surviving have families? A lot of the ones I know are like single or no kids, that sort of thing.
Right, younger.
And it favors the non-family man or woman.
They're not young. A lot of them are our age and they're single, and that's they're doing covers or whatever, or their wives.
The thing I thought was funny about it when it happened to me was, these guys, how can you can't go to CG, they're this, that, and the other thing. You'll destroy your career. And I'm like, why do you think I'm doing this? Because I don't have any work. If you, it was like when I went to CrossGen. It's like, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with CrossGen, and I'm certainly not saying there's anything wrong with CG, but I'm saying when you're in a regular lifestyle, and you're working, you're not going to go take. Most people, some people do, but you get into that kind of comfort zone of, I'm doing this story, I get my paycheck. Next month they give me another story, I'll get my paycheck. And you don't think about doing anything other than, well, I got to keep making that paycheck. So you get focused and you do these things. Mm-hmm. And then when they're taken away from you, you're like, okay, well, now what are my options, right? And that's when I went and decided to go self-publish and hook up with Comicsgate, is because my mainstream career was essentially over. When AT&T fired everybody at DC, I had 0 connections. So it's like, am I going to go grovel in front of some 22-year-old girl to get a job who has no idea who I am and no idea what their job is? It's like, no. And the same thing, like I said, happened to me at CrossGen. I would never have gone to CrossGen had I any other opportunities, but I didn't at the time, so I went. And so when people tell me, oh, you'll never work in this town again, I go, I wasn't working in this town, you idiot. Yeah. That's, it's like, that's not a threat.
I share your sentiments as far as not caring to work in the mainstream. Andy said it the best. My favorite character of all time is Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Batman, Captain America, those great heroes of our day. But for me, I didn't come over to Comicsgate for any other reason than I didn't like what was happening outside of Comicsgate. I didn't, I came in right around when they were trying to push the safe space in Snowflake.
Yeah.
And they were also trying to tear down J. Scott Campbell and some other guys, telling them how to draw and what to draw. You can be friends with this person. You can't be friends with this person. And that was what was upsetting me the most. I was doing my own I was doing my own comics for me. When I did the Grave to do it. I didn't do it with any intention to print it. I did it because I needed to exercise that out. But when I saw what was happening in this place that I was part of, which was comics, when I get a comic that was produced by my friend Ethan, and I put it on my spinner rack, and I spin it, and I tweet it, and I get a bunch of vitriol for it. I'm like, what is going on? That's what sent me over. This sort of, no, we have control over you, the way you think and draw and move. You will, click your heels together and do it the way we say to do it. And that was what I was opposed to.
Get to work, Dorothy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pulled that shit with me. The same thing with me. And I had this is probably 2020 when I started doing this. And I got the same thing berated by people. And I'm like, since 2012, I've done 42 pages of art for Marvel. I mean, for DC. That's it. 42 pages, of which 12 was never published.
Wow.
That was it. And that was in 2014. Then 2018, Dan offered me to do something, Sergeant Rock story that I did with Frank Thierry. It's a great story, and it's never been published. It's a Christmas story. It was supposed to be for one of their Walmart books, and they pushed the deadline up, and they just reprinted a whole bunch of old stuff. None of the original stories, I think, got into it.
That was very sweet of you to use some unknown. Would you say his name? Terrarium?
Thierry, Frank Thierry. So, and that was that. And then they pulled the same shit with me. I'm like, well, I haven't done anything in 6 years. I've had them ask me. I've had friends ask me, I got to ask you something. Like, how are you making a living? What are you doing for a living? And I'm like, I'm doing 3 Comic Cons a year. Because I got to support what? I'm like, yeah, because I have to support my family. You think I want to do 23 fucking comic book, conventions a year, which is basically from like, say, February or March to September, October, right?
Yes, two shows a month, man. That's crazy. Yeah.
You just get rested and you're on a plane again.
Yeah, it's a condensed time, and then and none of them supported me. None of them. They all gave me shit. Like, me and Dan had this conversation one day on the phone for an hour or so when they first started coming after him. And the thing is, well, what have they ever done for you? Oh, you're gonna hurt your career. Oh, really? What fucking career did I have working with you guys? I never really had much of a career working with Marvel and DC. I mean, I did good, but I did 10 times the money I did with my own books.
Andy, well, I always think you were the biggest. You were the biggest inspiration, Billy. I mean, you made not just a living, but a great living doing it on your terms. Like, that's no mainstream help, no Marvel, no DC, none of that. You built your name, your franchise, your IPs based on your own drive, ambition, and talent. And that's crazy. I wish I would have had the guts in 95 or 96 when things imploded in the industry. And I went back to Marvel. We just had our little Amanda, and I just felt like I need to be the breadwinner. So I need a sure thing. So I gave up the black and white dream, of publishing myself, and I went back to the mainstream. And I don't regret it. I got 20 years, another 20 years out of a career, put food on the table. But man, every day was like, I want to draw this book. Like, it never went away. So I really aspire, like, never again. I'm going to be like Billy Tucci, moving on, because it's no matter what, it's going to be the independent way. Freedom comes out of that. There's just so much that comes out of that. Freedom. Let me get these. This is a good question. I'm going to ask Graham this, and then I'll comment. But I got 2 super chats, and I want to take those.
You got a bunch of super chats, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, so we got Son of Liberty Radio, $5. Thank you so much. Mandy, I think he means Andy, is making age jokes. I could have sworn that Graham and Aaron are younger based on the gray in their beards.
Pshaw. If you saw the three of us in real life standing next to each other, you would easily go, "Oh, you are the baby of the group." And I'd go, "Exactly."
Pshaw.
And you'd go, "Gaga goo goo." You'd go, "Gaga goo goo."
Change my diaper, guys.
Change it.
All right, Eric. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Eric. Style sometimes trumps technical skill, but skills always will last. And the more you work, the more both will improve. You guys are doing your thing great. Thank you for all the support. I mean, we would really be nothing without your support. I mean, that's the most amazing thing about this is we would still be groveling. We'd still be doing all those horror stories that we talk about if it wasn't for the support of CG and this independent movement that we got going here. So thank you. And you guys, there was another super chat. What?
Yeah, dude. You got
Chris Thacker.
You got there it is. There it is.
Billy, make your own war story anthology book, please. We have some begging by Chris, Billy.
You got it, brother. It's a good idea. Let's see.
Are you eating Rice Krispies over there, Art?
Yeah, that might
is it still crackling? I turned it down. If I talk lower, is it less crackly?
Is it the mic on your computer, or is it like a mic?
I got my mic.
I would unplug it and plug it back in.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to ask.
Mute it first.
Mute it now? Well, I'm gonna let Graham. Is there another super chat? Yeah, no, I'm gonna let Graham answer that question, and then I'm gonna mute myself, and then Graham could carry the ball. So go ahead, Graham. Like what was the whole reason you got into CG? Like I think we're just stay on that topic, and then we'll go into our other questions.
Well, that's cutting in line then. We got our questions here that we had people ask us. We should answer those first.
Okay, so you want to move on from this topic? Okay. Well, I don't know.
Yeah. We've covered this. We've covered that ad nauseum. Everybody knows why we're in CG and stuff. So,
okay. Yeah. Andy, did you fulfill your question then?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it was a simple question. The questions I have, I could burn through quick. They're all really simple. Like I said, none of mine are. I like the questions Dan and Aaron got, but mine aren't that. Mine are pretty simple to answer. And yeah, I answered it. The guys that said that, nobody said it since, because it's been like 3.5 years now. But everybody that said that, if they were working for the mainstream then, they're not now.
Okay. Go for it, Graham.
So
okay, well, since Chris Thacker is in the audience, and since he sent me a bunch of great questions, I'm going to start with him. He said, "What's the best story you never got to tell? Why and what happened?" Well, back in the late 90s, I wrote a prestige book for DC called Batman the Homicide. And the premise behind it was this retired detective gets killed. And it really affects Batman. And we don't know why. And so he is going out of his way to uncover the mystery of this death. And the bottom line is, and we find out at the end, that this is the detective that showed up at the crime scene of his parents and was the investigating detective in their deaths. And he was the first one that, was kind to him. And he was somebody that Bruce was constantly in contact for many years, finding out what's going on with that murder, the murder investigation as he was a kid and all that kind of stuff. And so the mystery plays out, and the Penguin is in it. And there's this really, really great sequence that I had in the underbelly of Gotham in these gigantic sewer systems, and they're on these ski-doos, and the water is rising in the sewer system, and they're so they're on these ski-doos, and Batman's chasing this guy around through this thing, and he gets shoved up against the grate in the sewer because he can't get out now because there's a grate that empties out into the river, and it was just this really, really cool visuals and stuff, and a great mystery that ended with a great addition to the Batman mythos, and DC loved it. And I wanted Eduardo Barreto to illustrate it. So we hired Ed.
He's so good.
Yeah, we hired Ed to do it. But unfortunately, at the time, Ed was going through some problems. I think he was going through a divorce, and he had some health issues. And the first batch of pages came in, and they were underwhelming. And DC was also going through changes, and they decided to shit can the book. So it never got told. The cool thing though was there was some stuff in there that I created that I was able to use later on. Like, I always wanted a Batman to have a hydrofoil. I thought that would be really cool. To not only to add to his arsenal of really cool vehicles, but I'd create it, and if they made a toy out of it, I'd get royalties on it.
Yeah.
But I remember talking to Denny O'Neil about the hydrofoil. I said, try driving and chasing a bad guy through New York City, on a Saturday night. The Batmobile would be stuck in traffic and all this kind of stuff. But if he had a hydrofoil, he could just go right up above the cars and fly around. And if the guy was on the other side of the river, boom, he goes right over the river and he gets on the other side. I thought it was a really cool thing to add. Denny's thing was, that's a suspension of disbelief. You just have to assume the Batmobile can get through traffic. It's like in a movie where no matter what time of day it is, your protagonist can always park right in front of the court building. These are just things that you have to take and understand. But I ended up using the hydrofoil in Bane Conquest. We introduced it there. So I still did get to use the hydrofoil, but that was a really cool story that I wish I could tell. And then there was another one that I wrote for Marvel called The Bunker, and it was a Hulk story, and it was a horror story.
Great.
Remember when the Hulk was early on, and he used to change at night, and at night Rick Jones would take him into the desert to this bunker that they had, and they had that gigantic tube that would push the rock wall and close the Hulk in there, and then the Hulk would be smashing at it all night long trying to get out. This is great.
Wait a second. This guy had nighttime urges, and he got put into a little bunker so he could smash all night long.
Well, he got put in there when he was still Bruce Banner.
Okay.
And then he would turn, and then the bunker was supposed to hold him. But in this story, they're in the desert. The power goes out, and now Rick Jones is sitting in the dark, and the Hulk busts out. Now, so you've got this giant rage monster in the dark chasing after you, and this is really, really, really cool story.
Smash you.
As he was trying to say.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question: can the Hulk see at night? Can he see in the dark?
Well, he would listen. He would be like an animal. It would be like an animalistic horror story of this thing trying to kill him, because he had he at that point he was all raged out.
So he has all the heightened senses and everything, so he can.
No, he doesn't even need that. He just busts things. And then he listens. He listens for the kids.
Was Hulk a heightened senses guy? Was he a heightened senses guy?
No, I just said he didn't.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No.
Oh, his eyes would adjust. Come on.
Yeah,
come on, Art. Quit trying to throw a wrench in the works, man.
Yeah, when he
I just think it would be funny. It would be funny to see the Hulk just stumbing around.
His spider sense and his.
Well, the good news is I'm going to do that story. I'm going to do that story, but I'm not doing it with the Hulk. I'm going to create a new rage monster in a different scenario, but it's going to be the same type of horror story. I'm going to put it in a Compass Comics.
Graham Nolan's The Bulk.
Ooh, the Bulk, the Raging Bulk.
I think a few
Raging Bulk.
Raging Bulk.
He's going to be gray.
Ooh,
it should be
the ever-loving blue-eyed Bulk.
The Raging Bulge.
Why you got to go there? Always bringing the show down.
Little double entendre.
Double entendre. Double
My question was with that thing that they put him in, because I remember Kirby did it and John Byrne did it as well in his run. The angrier he gets, the stronger he gets.
That wasn't established then. That wasn't established then.
Oh, okay.
Go back to the early days, Andy.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, because Byrne did it as well in his run, and that was the 80s.
Well, he was flashing it back to that scene.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that.
Because it's a classic shot, that I think it's Hulk number 3, where you see like a split screen where the Hulk is on one side and he's bashing against the concrete, and Rick Jones is sitting on the other side like this, with his head down, just having to listen to these pounding noises all night long. I thought that was a really powerful image.
Yeah.
Was he gray still, or was he green?
He was green. He was only gray in #1.
Right.
Oh, okay.
He had so
Has
many
he ever
color
been-
problems, I had to change it immediately.
Has he ever been adamantium encased? No, I know. Sorry, I'm not trying to be nerdy, but like I am. Has
You are
Magneto,
so nerdy.
Has Magneto used his metal powers
I don't think so.
with adamantium to encase him because it's mind over matter, and at a certain point that anger comes from the mind, and the mind of Magneto and the mind of Minolta.
Well, the Incredible Hulk #6, the Ditko issue, they did have a Magneto prototype character called the Metal Master.
The Metal Man. The Metal Master. Yeah.
Was it Metal Master? I think it was. I can't. But anyway.
I think it was the Metal Master. I think
that guy could shred.
Yeah.
All right. How did you guys feel about this when they did this with Magneto? Speaking of Magneto, and like that he could use like the iron in your blood.
Yes.
Because there's metals in your blood, and I'm like, that's
awesome,
giving this guy way too much power.
Oh,
man.
that's awesome, dude. That's
awesome
awesome to be able to. That's amazing.
I do want to comment though on something that Graham said real quickly here. Is that the great thing about what we're doing now is because Graham just give an example of stories he wrote for other companies that never got used. I've got a ton of those that I pitched and never got used, and now I'm turning them into my own properties. Like Wraith of God was a Ghostwriter story that got rejected. I've got so
the Shanu and Alien Alamo were both rejected by DC, Dark Horse, and Aftershock.
Aftershock?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, man, it's not like they didn't need properties or anything.
I
This
know,
is
that's
I'll make 150 on it by myself. Thanks for nothing.
Well, they're paying for
so
it
I was
now.
glad. I'm glad. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that they turned it down because I was able to use them to start my Nolanverse.
So let's go to Billy Tucci. So Billy, what questions do you have?
I shared my screen so I could pull up the question.
Oh, sweet.
What, you can't read?
Well, I can read just fine.
No, we have to read it for him. Come on.
Read it for
Ouch.
Randy Howell, thank you so much. Randy Howell asked, Billy, is the comic industry, first of all, this has got to be the best Bros promo ever, bro. That's the best picture I've ever taken with that hat. I like.
You look so awesome in that hat. That's Joe Bernardo. Joe Bernardo put that together for me.
How did he just?
Seven of us.
Right, and how do you go? Hey, these guys get the Sherlock, but those two get the top hat. You know what I mean? Like, how did that happen?
I think me and Andy look friggin' awesome. I think. With
Oh, we do.
We're
scholarly.
Really cool.
I should have had Aaron's hat because the angle of that hat would have matched the angle of my face. Because I look like I'm wearing it off sideways.
Yeah, Graham and I look like we're like jailing it, like we're doing like the gangbanger thing.
Hey, check this out.
Cap on
Check
sideways.
this out. The best 2 words that you could hear as a freelancer or anybody that has done a graphic: no notes.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, no notes.
And by the way, real quickly, the guy in the center that's Sherlock Holmes. I think Dan asked that question. Yeah,
who's the seventh guy?
Doesn't look like Sherlock Holmes, but
no.
Well, oh my gosh, we're all.
Fraga, that's a great pose too. That he found that picture of Fraga.
Yeah, it looks perfect.
Man, that's perfect.
That's good shit.
That's why I'm saying I got no notes.
Okay, so here we go. So Billy, is the comic industry really as left as they say? Could there be a lot of go along to get along? Yes.
Hell to the yeah.
RT Bear.
They're also really left though.
Yeah, no, they're very left wing. That's true. Me, I don't really give a shit about anyone's politics like the rest of us. But again, with me, I was the last work I did for DC. I got nominated for an Eisner in 2011 for a Batman story, and that I wrote and illustrated. And then a year after that was the 2012 election, and when they found out I was voting for Mitt Romney, that was it for me. So
wow.
That's that. Boom. Just like that. Boom. Nobody would hire me. And I'm nice. I'm really friggin' nice. I don't get in arguments with people, but they just, and I was told by some of my fellow, creators that this is what they were told. And these guys are left wing guys, and they were pretty shocked by it. But that's that. And so that's that. Next, okay. So RT Bear.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. That's not the right layout. There we go. There we go. I'm going to share too because I can't read apparently.
Smoke weed every day.
Yeah, smoke weed every day. Is that
no
what
smoke, comma read every day?
Oh, okay.
Smoke and
read.
I read the Bible every.
Where are we? Okay, this is my Twitter, and thank you guys so much for contributing and being part of this. I mean, once again, we are nothing without you. So without your support, even something like this show can't exist. So we do really appreciate that. And once again, Joe Bernardo, thank you so much. When I saw this, I cracked out loud. I was like, this is perfect, man. And I'll tell you, Billy in the top hat is so freaking awesome.
It is. He also looks vampiric.
Vampiric, yes.
I could turn into Mr. Hyde at any minute.
I feel sucking the blood.
Yeah, you could flip out on us. I like every picture with Aaron in it. Aaron's always like just the opposite of what he really is. He's always really enthusiastic looking. He's got a big smile. He is not the grumpy old
in real
Aaron
life
here.
Aaron is a treat,
Yeah.
It's all an act. Once we go off air and we're talking off camera or whatever, he just lights up. He's like jolly old Saint Nick all the time.
Yeah, it's just an
as soon as
act.
we're like we're live, he's like, I gotta get grumpy.
Gotta get grumpy. It's my thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
This comics industry is horrible, and then we go off the air. Did you see these comics I got? They're slabbed. They're number 9.
They're slabbed.
They're slabbed.
He's like, hold on, I'll pull one out of the bag, but I gotta put my gloves on first.
Yeah, I gotta put my gloves
I don't want it
on.
to have fingerprints.
They're slapped. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
I can never
Levi,
read it, but listen.
Go ahead.
I'm done.
Oh, were you saying something, Andy?
He was making fun of me.
I love this.
Okay.
question.
Okay. Well, this is Levi Skeen, and he asked this on a live stream that I did, and he says, how many assistant students have you had over the years? I have never counted, but there's been some. Okay, go for it.
Jaime Mendoza.
Yes, Mendoza.
Larry Stucker.
Yes.
Danny Mickey.
3.
Alan. It starts with an A. I don't know how to say it. Was it Martinez?
Alan Martinez. Okay.
Yeah, that starts with an A.
Yeah, it does. It does. The lines are all jumbled up, though.
Was there a Sean guy? Sean something or no?
Possibly. There's been a lot that didn't really hang for too long. That kind of came and went, but these are all like the big names. Like also like Tim Townsend gave him his first work on Spawn.
Wow. A lot of talent.
Yeah, Andy Owens, who's a big time inker at DC Comics right now. There's been a few pencilers too, but I can't. It was Kelly. I can't remember his last name. He did. Was it called The Sleeper? What was that Marvel book with
Kelly Puckett?
Maybe
Yeah,
that's
The
it.
Sleeper.
It was called The Sleeper.
Sleepwalker.
Sleepwalker. Yeah, that was
Sleepwalker
it.
was Brett Blevins, I thought.
Yeah, that was Blevins, wasn't it?
Yeah, but there's somebody else that took over. I mean, he didn't do the whole run.
Might have been Kelly Puckett.
Yeah, that sounds real familiar. And there was John Owen, who ended up working in Hollywood. So not everybody went to.
Well, you're just talking about the ink assists. What about the writing assist people like Aesop and the other people like the Grimm brothers that used to come over?
It's just all kinds of people, but
Eric the
really,
Guapo says it was Kelly Blue Book. Oh, Kelly
That's
Blue
it.
Book. Kelly Blue
Holy
Book.
shit! Holy shit! Yeah, he
I
Blue
fell
Book.
for that one. Oops.
Yeah. Oh
He
boy,
always told you what your car was worth.
the Blue Book
That's right.
value.
Terrible.
He couldn't draw to
Terrible.
save his life, but he always knew what everybody's car was.
Yeah.
worth.
Nailed that.
Hey, what'd you pay for that? $12.50?
Yeah, you had a lot of amazing talent. That's something that, like you and Liefeld definitely have in common is like you guys knew, you know, you could look at a seed and know the potential of the tree it would be, you know.
You know what the worst part is? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
The worst part is just that there was so much talent that didn't reach their potential. That's the stuff that, like, I'm very proud of the people that went into the industry, because none of them were slouches. Like everybody that came out of Hack Shack Studios, they were
my favorite inker on my work is Larry Stucker, and he came.
Larry's phenomenal. Like when Extreme Studios kind of started sinking, Larry and Jaime and I kind of reformed Hack Shack Studios just out of necessity, and went back to Marvel Comics and started doing all kinds of work.
It.
Yeah, I mean, we were doing 3 to 4 books at that time. And I think Hack Shack Studios, we got up to 6 books a month that we were responsible for between Marvel and DC. So those were good times. But yeah, there was a bunch of talent that came out. I really liked it at the time running the studio. I think the studio ran for about 30 years. And I'm really proud that there was a lot of talent that came out, but not just average talent. All these guys were making good livings right now. They're doing really good. I think Jaime's working with Dan right now, so you're working with like top-notch guys. So yeah, Hack Shack Studios was great. Working with those guys. So I probably overall, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 people came and went through the studio. I can't remember all their names.
That George Jefferstein guy in the chat is murdering us, and I'm dying. He called me.
Is this the one here?
He called me Fat Billy Corrigan. He said he's not gonna go after Aaron because he looks like his grandpa.
Oh shit!
I'm dying. I'm listening.
I know.
Bro.
I saw that.
Oh wait. Okay, George Jefferson. Someone to tell the guy second to the bottom to close his Jefferson to close his mouth, because mouth breathing isn't good for you.
I'm fucking dying, dude.
Second to the bottom. I think he said I look like Stephen Greer.
Second to the
okay,
bottom.
I'm sorry, Art. I just was catching them, and they were killing me.
Well, I'm going to catch this one because this one is actually going to help pay the bills. So, Late Kick, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Whose CGIP would you guys like to draw besides your own? Okay, we were going to save this for the end, but since it's the super chat, we'll prioritize it. So, Dan, whose IP would you like to draw?
Around the horn.
Yeah, we'll do a quick round the horn.
Yours.
Black and white? Yeah,
Yes.
baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about you, Aaron Lepresti?
I'm torn between the Shanu and Cordrath. The problem with the Shanu is there has to be ordinary people in it. So if I could just draw the Shanu like killing a grizzly or something, I would be up for that.
Just a one shot.
Yeah. But probably for the overall book, probably Cordrath, because I'm sort of I kind of love the barbarian vibe.
That'd be cool. Okay, Andy Smith, what do you got?
I would actually go with Black Flag. As much as all the detail, it would take me forever, but I like big dudes with guns like that, and there's hot chicks in it, so I'm down. So
and you like hurting yourself with all those freaking characters.
And secondly, second would be Black and White. So because you got both. You got the cool guy and the hot chick. So
yeah. How about you, Graham Nolan?
I'm gonna sound like a dick, but nobody's.
Boom.
Okay. All right. So how about you, Billy?
You do sound like a dick.
Let me say the reason.
We all know Graham well enough that was going to be the answer.
For 40 years, I drew other people's characters.
Yeah, but hypothetically.
Yeah.
It's not really going to happen. It's not really going to happen.
Well, it could. I mean, a lot of guys always asking, "Hey, can you do covers? Can you do this? Can you do a short story here and all that kind of stuff?"
Now, you a-hole, after you said that.
Well,
yeah, with that answer, there's no way I'm ever working with the great.
I just wanted my company's comics tattoo removed.
I just want to make this clear. Fuck all of you.
You got it.
That was pretty damn clear. Billy, whose IP would you want to draw?
I'd like to take a stab at that Whitney. Let me tell you that, buddy.
Sweet.
Oh,
And speaking of Whitney, you did
I
a
already
killer
had her, but
version.
I already did her, and I'll do her again because she looks.
Yeah,
I did her once, and I'll do her again.
You did her good too. That's going to be one of the trading cards in the black and white campaign. So thank you so much, Billy. It kicked ass. And I was thinking of coloring it, but I like the pencil look and the gray tone. So I'm going to keep it in its pure state. For me, I think it would be Kit Carson because I dig sci-fi. I dig sci-fi.
Okay, that one I wouldn't mind.
Oh, you can't go back on it now, Graham Nolan. And
I
also,
forgot about
that is a good one.
That's
you stepped on my punchline because I was going to say I love sci-fi bitches.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Late Kick. I don't know where the hell we are on the show now.
I think it's
Dan's
turn.
second round. Yeah,
second round.
All right.
Share this real quick. Just real quick.
Is this the grumpy? You want this?
Yeah.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah,
I love that top panel, Aaron.
Thank you.
That's
Monsters
great.
and Chicks. No, I colored this myself, so I just want to let you guys know that I'm multitasking. So anyway, there you go.
It shows.
You said
Hey, don't brag until you put some letters on that page, pal.
Oh, that's never gonna happen. That's never gonna
happen. There might be some side notes. Yeah. All right, Mr. Frega, what do you got?
El Wapo with a scorcher. He said if Andy drew Black Flag, we might get it in this decade.
Ooh.
Oh, wait. I got to read this. This is a good one. Eric Medved says, "Wow, is John Malin coming out of Graham?" Yeah, F all you guys. Oh shit, let's go with this. Wow, you guys are awesome. Late Kick 2, thank you for the super chat. Did I NCG with that? Probably
not at all.
All right, let's get down to the questions.
Okay,
Dan Frega.
I've got another one from James Murphy. It's a double punched question. One's a quick answer, and then the other one is one I think that's kind of for all of us. He says, how important is the drawing part of comics with regard to how you think and develop a story? And have you or any of the other bros, for that matter, ever considered writing and possibly thumbnailing stories and hiring others to draw them? So addressing the very first one, how important is the drawing part in comics with regards to how you think and develop a story? It didn't used to be. For me, it didn't. I drew in my own style, and that's how I drew, and you get what you get. But as I start to learn some more things and think about how to create motivation and characters through action lines and what marks I put down on paper, I realized that the drawing is important to develop the story. Regarding writing and doing thumbnails and that sort of thing for other artists, I think about that all the time. And the reason I think about it is time on this planet is very limited. We're all limited. I'm watching friends die all the time. And as that's happening, I look at my idea notebook, and I've got about 30 ideas in my idea notebook, and I'd say about 7 to 8 of those are really worth my time and getting out there. But the amount of life I have left in me to execute those things, the math doesn't add up. So yeah, for sure, definitely, when it comes to using my Mattel experience and hiring teams and delegating, going through outlines and getting it fleshed out and doing layouts for somebody, my answer is yeah, I would absolutely consider that for sure. Because for me, my goal isn't necessarily about me as an individual. It's about the things that it's the tomatoes inside of this tomato seed that matter, not the seed itself, if that makes any sort of sense. So I need to get those ideas out. Gentlemen.
I would also say, I've got plans to hired David Williams to do something for me next year. But in terms of like storyboarding for somebody else, when I hire somebody, I expect the reason I hire them is because I think they're good enough at what they're doing that I just let people go, and so I would give a script, but that's all I would give. And I would say, hey, if you want to bring something to the table, bring something to the table. But anyway, so I'm thinking
that when I talk about the Mattel process, Mattel was such a crazy ideation place, like the machine itself. So like, for example, they'd have like a doll and they got a deal on translucent package. So they go, what if we made dolls with translucent parts? Well, what could we do? Oh, we make them ghosts. Let's go to the department that Frega is in. That's not how they call it, but it's, that department I was in.
It's called the Frega division.
It wasn't.
Nice, Frega division.
Yeah, I'm just serious. Not really though. So but this is what I'm serious about, that we would sit and we would go, well, what if this, what if this, what if this? Those would get checked against the brand directives, and then they would say, out of these 5 you pitched us, go after these 2 in 3 different ways. And we would do that. And then when we got to a nice place with an outline, we would hire somebody to do a script. And then from that script, we would give notes. And then from that script, we would go out to productions and get bids.
So you would develop the idea within your group, and then you would hire and contract people to make it reality.
And that's how I would do it. I would, like, when you're talking, Aaron, when you're saying you would sit and do a script and let them do their thing, I would reel all the way back and go, like, I'm not going to give you any of my ideas right now, but like if you just give like a log line and a 20-minute pitch to somebody you want to work with and say, hey, throw me an outline. Right? And they come back to you with an outline and you go, hey, tweak this, 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 and this. Hey, this is great. Give me a first draft.
That's what I did with Von Klaus for the black and white high octane. I had a basic outline for a story. I pitched it to him. It only took 2 drafts to nail it. That dude is freaking on it. He is a master storyteller. And the first draft, I just kind of said, no current, pop references, and I forget the other critique. And boom, second draft, nailed it, and got it out to Pedro Ang for pencils and inks. So I do want to do more, because I realize that, like you're saying, Dan, things are limited. Your time's limited. You can only do so much physically yourself. I mean, some of you guys are a lot faster and more, functional at doing that. I think if I would have had more years penciling, I would probably have that as a fallback as well. But I don't. But there's still those ideas, like you said, the sketchbook's full of IP and ideas. And that's the frustrating part, is you realize that your time is limited and you're only going to be able to tell so many of these stories.
And for the people that want to, like, one of the guys I did a deep dive study on was Disney, like his complete story, not just the BS that the company wants you to know, but like all of it. And, he started off as sort of an okay cartoonist and a mediocre animator at best. But at the end of the day, he was good with people, and he was good at seeing the potential, and he had a great imagination. And he abstracted and started thinking of people as like I look at this pencil and I know this result comes out of this pencil. I know that this lead is this and it weighs this and whatever. I know I pick up this pencil, I get a different result. But if I have an ultimate vision, I assemble a series of tools to get that job done, right? And that's what Walt Disney did, is he stepped back from that personalized aspect of drawing and animating and that sort of thing, and backed up and said, hey, I'm going to get this guy to do this, I'm going to get this guy to do this, I'm going to get this guy to do this, because he was still an artist, but he just kind of scaled.
Yeah, that's how I ran Hack Shack Studios. Like, there's guys that did this good. There's guys that did, this other thing good. And so then you just kind of put them on the project and they do those certain things. And then they hone that skill. And then once they get better, then they can go on to something else. But let me get this. And then Aaron's going to be up. We got another super chat. Thank you guys so much for all the super chats. I do appreciate Chris Thacker, $10 super chat. Thank you so very, very much. Would love to see you guys do more cross promotion, either pinups, posters, backup stories, etc. Love to see more inkers come in and such too. Cross pollination of creatives is great. Yeah, I think we're so kind of at this point busy trying to get our own things to work and get them done. It's hard to kind of have time for other things.
Though, if you got Two-Fisted Manly Tales, you would have got a serious cross promotion where you got all the bros.
That's right.
We do that. We do that. It's just it's not necessarily like a staple of our business models because, as Art said, there's a degree of time and involvement because spinning a lot of plates are being spun around. But fantastic idea, and I think over time maybe more momentum could be created to do that.
Well, back to what Graham said, I do agree, even though you were very blunt about it, Graham, is that like I put 40 years into this industry. I don't really have any interest in doing other people's stuff. You know what I mean? Like a pinup, maybe a cover, maybe. But if it's gonna, if something I really want to draw, is like getting in the way, I just won't do it. I'll stay focused on black and white or chrono mechanics or something like that, because that's really where my passion is and where my heart is. And it's no slight to anybody else. It's just kind of like been there, done that. I just have no interest in really doing it.
I wasn't trying to insult anybody with my answer.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious, man.
No, it's just the fact of the matter is like you were saying, we're behind, we're busy. We're so big. I have like 6 commissions I owe still. That I give out for the commissions. I'm trying to finish this one book, and I have to do a thing for I don't know. There's a charity thing I have to do a commission. I have to do a sheet drawing for, and I'm stressing out over it because I don't know if I have the time to do that. You just get stressed out with this stuff, and our main point is to get our books out because of our backers. We owe them everything. And they are our number one priority. And it'd be fun to draw. I was just saying I'd love to draw Whitney. I had the chance to draw. Someone got a commission for that, and it was awesome. But again, when you're behind or you're self-publishing, you are doing everything. You're doing the marketing, you're doing the editing, you're doing the writing. Even if you have people that you work with, you're still doing the vast majority of that. Promoting, even when we're on shows, late at night, we're promoting. Like Alan's on the West Coast. That's kind of like he's 3 hours behind us. I'm kind of done for the day now.
Right.
So
it's
6:35
p.m.
I got up 2 hours ago. I'm ready to go.
The kind of cross promotion that I like, the kind that like, when Art goes, it depends on if I get motivated to do it. Like I know what motivates me. Like Andy Smith drew a sniper drawing at a show and gave it to me, and I can't wait to like dig into that, like ink it, and I think like how cool would it be, with all of us just a name in a hat, like Aaron inking a Graham or me inking a Billy or Art inking, Aaron or whomever, that would be a lot of fun in my book. That would motivate me because it'd be the results. You go, what's gonna happen? That's magical.
The other thing folks need to keep in mind too is that one of the reasons that we love comics is that it's such a unique art form where that an entire concept or idea can be done by one person. A movie requires thousands of people, of script writers and directors changing things and actors adding in all their other stuff. There's nothing more insular and unique than comics, where an entire vision can be brought to market by one person. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm interested in while we're doing these boutique comics, is to have in my case, my vision be brought out. So that's why I don't use inkers and other or writers or anything else I want it to be pure. And I think that's what makes this medium so amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree, especially with what we're doing, because these are from the heart. These are things that we've created, so they're very personal to us. So the more we can do, the better, What were we going to say, Aaron?
I was just making a Star Trek reference from Commodore Decker. Absolutely pure. Anti-photon.
Most of us on the panel aren't dorks, so we didn't get that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
Graham gets it.
So, Aaron, what do you have as far? Did you read the question?
I got like a couple of quick ones. I want to do just one breath answers. Then I got actually a really in-depth one here. But someone wrote me and said, Dad's Den said, who's stronger, Flash Gordon or Tarzan? And clearly Tarzan is the correct answer there. So
yeah, absolutely, Tarzan.
Yeah,
but one's got a blaster.
Was it ape-like strength?
He kills lions and wrestles gorillas. He's Tarzan.
You take the blaster out of Flash Gordon. He's just a fit guy.
That's right.
Are you sure he's been to space and has experienced multiple gravity types? So he might be very strong.
He's weaker.
Not as strong as
oh, shit.
Okay, so I have Jaquayo. I got these weird names. Jaquaio. Jaquayo, I think.
That's one way to insult the audience.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks, Aaron. They won't remember it anyway.
Unique names, not weird.
There you go.
What are the most important aspects of a character concept to focus on in a modern day comic? When almost everything has been done or redone, what grabs the modern eye most in your opinion? And I will say that everybody's going to have a varied answer to this, and this is just my opinion, because there is no formula, or we'd all just be like, we'd all be Walt Disney, right? I think you have to grab onto something that feels iconic, and that doesn't necessarily mean that we've seen it before, but I think, and not everybody has this built in, but I think you have to have sort of a built-in system where you recognize something that feels or looks cool, okay? Now, everybody thinks whatever they come up with is cool, but that's not always the case. So you have to have a discerning eye that you can come up with something that is going to resonate and feel or look cool. If you're talking about a single character, right? Something like Graham's the Chenu. I'll use that as an example. It's a relatively simple design, and it's a very iconic looking design. It's something you can latch onto and say, and it sticks with you. A bad example to me personally was like the orcs in Lord of the Rings, the movie. They just looked like ugly people. They were just, let's put a wart here, but there was no uniformity to it. There was nothing that really made you go, wow, okay, that's the Green Goblin. That they were just, and so I had a real problem with that. Unlike, say, something like Predator, which is very iconic looking right out of the gate, you go, that's something cool and it sticks with you. So that's important, is coming up with a design, and it can be contemporary, it can be retro, it can be a lot of things, but it has to be cool. And people have to look at it and go, wow, that's cool. And again, what that means, there's no easy formula for that.
I want to read this real quick.
Yeah.
From J Dread. Graham is looking spooky, floating severed head. You got a black shirt on and a black background, and I just want to say,
now.
Yeah, do you remember that Queen video? Let me go, and there's a floating head. So no.
Oh, yeah.
Mamma mia.
It's called Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, that Queen thing.
Yeah, that Queen song. Yeah, that Queen song. Let me get this real quick too. Sorry to interrupt. The Dawn for $5 super chat. Thank you so very much. I have long admired and have so much respect for every one of you gents. You are legends, and I am glad we're all in the same circles. Blessings all. Wow, that is so kind of you. Thank you so much,
Don.
The Dawn. Yeah, that is
Don.
very, 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 dare I say, sweet. That's very
Blessings
sweet
to you, sir.
I dare you. Say it.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
It's a sweet guy.
Okay, so to finish up my thought here, so like Wraith of God, for example, you know, Marvel's got the Black Rider, basically the same thing.
How dare you? That's racist.
You got Gunslinger Spawn, not all that different. So, you know, so how you present something, even if it's a familiar concept, is very important to whether it's successful or not, right? And so that does speak a little bit to the art style as well. I think in terms of, you sell a character also on what you can bring to it in terms of personal characterization. Okay, not just visually appealing, but what can you do to make him interesting? Okay, and you know, again, what I looked at with Wraith of God was, here's this guy who had a vision from God, or did he? Is he just crazy? We don't know, right? So there's a little bit of mystery involved, and that makes it. And then of course he's hunting monsters, and to a certain degree, everybody loves monsters, and so there's certain elements you bring in there. Then you bring in maybe a love interest, but maybe it's not a clear love interest. There's some conflict there. So you have these elements, and the bottom line, the one thing I learned very early on is, even if you have an anti-hero, they've got to be likable. Okay, you can't create a character that's a complete a-hole and say, well, 6 issues down the line, they're going to have a turnaround and become this new character, because you've lost your audience. So even if they are a-holes, they have to have some qualities that appeal to people that say, I like that character, and they're going to stick with you as that character goes through changes. I did this with another property years ago, where my lead kid, in Power Cube, my original concept, he was just a jerk, but then he became not a jerk. But by the time he got to not being a jerk anymore, no one cared anymore because they hated the character. Okay, so I learned to give him the problems, but he dealt with them in a way that made him likable or relatable, as opposed to just being a jerk because I wanted to flip the script.
How was Paul and Saul handled in the Bible? Because he started off as an asshole.
Well, yeah, but that's real life. I mean, that's not a narrative story that you're trying to, you know, the Bible is just, this is what happened.
Yeah,
you know?
but we still go, hey, this guy who was,
yeah, because you got but you got to the point where he changed, and you could look back and see that, and it was relatable. But I'm saying, when you're expecting people to plop down X amount of dollars,
what if you show them good guy, and then go, yeah, but this guy was a fucking dickhead beforehand, and then you show them that guy, and they go, how the hell did he get to that? You know what I'm saying?
But you show them the good. You got it right.
Yeah, I like the movies where the dickhead, and then finally you get to like him, and it's so formulaic. You're like, oh, I like, and then they get killed.
Yeah, but again, if you got a dickhead in the beginning of a movie, you've got a captive audience. They paid for the movie. They're going to wait it out. I'm telling you, if you're doing a comic book that's spread out over time, if people hate your main character, you may lose them before you get to the point where he becomes likable. So I'm just saying, you have to have traits in your main character that appeal to people, or they can identify, even if it's the Punisher, right? So those are
you identify with the Punisher for love of family.
Family.
He's still out there killing people, right? He's not a great guy. So
he's killing bad people, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Again,
they were all bad, just like Arnold.
Somebody just said, Daniel also said, you know, describing what you're saying, like me. I'm a likable guy with asshole tendencies.
There you go.
Hey,
let me get this super chat. Yeah, thank you so much, Sean Ferris, for the 76. That was a good year. That was a good year to be alive. When will we see all the bros together at a con? We did get the best OC, the bros, in New Jersey.
New Jersey,
but
we got to meet Sean and his
would
wife.
be cool to see everybody. Awesome. See you before poor Frega, youngest bro, runs out of years looking at Art and Lopez. Well, I can't travel right now because
before we get to a con, if we don't hurry, is what he's insinuating.
Right, that's what he's saying. Yeah. But for me, like, I can't travel right now because of my back. But hopefully by the end of the year, all that will be taken care of, and I'll be ready
Wait a second.
for traveling.
Is it your back? Is it your back or your ankle bracelet? Which one keeps you in state?
My ankle.
We weren't supposed to talk about that.
We weren't supposed to talk about that, Andy.
Oh, it's your back. Never mind. It's not that ankle
Yeah.
bracelet.
What do they call that?
van.
What do they call
thing.
that kind of arrest? You're under
arrest.
House arrest.
House
Art
arrest.
goes to the mailbox. That thing's going off. Cops are rolling up to his house. What are you doing?
Get back in there! And they got their guns drawn.
Said
yeah.
my,
Then they take his. Then they say the magic word that makes his dog attack his face.
What is this?
I'm going to be doing 3 shows. I'm hoping that the bros will be at. I am confirmed for Heroes Con for next year, for Garden State Comic Fest, and San Diego. So I am confirmed.
You see me in San Diego, Billy. We already paid for our booths, man. We got to go whether we want to or not.
We didn't pay for
You guys
ours.
paid for
baby.
another year?
They
You
wouldn't
had-
let me pay for ours.
You would have had to by now.
Nope, I don't think she has. I think she
Yeah,
said
she
they're
had
gonna
till
do it.
August 10th, man.
What?
Or the price goes up. You had till August 10th or the
I
price
think
goes up.
she's been
paid.
trying to pay them, and she can't get anyone on the phone. I'm going to text her right now and find out. Did we ever pay for?
They
Sam?
don't want his money.
They don't
No,
want your
no,
money.
man. I
yeah.
want that. I'm not losing that damn booth.
They don't want Billy in San Diego.
That's
That's it. Let's start it. Start the rumor.
Yeah. Okay, Andy Smith. What next question?
Mine's quick and simple. This one I'm using from Joe Bernardo since he was so kind to make the graphic. He
Thanks,
says,
Joe.
"What was your best and worst experience at CrossGen?" The best experience
me.
would be honestly the people I met. I never knew Aaron before CrossGen. If it wasn't for CrossGen, we might have met, we might not have, but we did. So that that's just awesome. I mean, Aaron's a great guy. A lot of the other people I met there, and just being able to work with such great talent under one roof every day, because it really made you want to, put your best foot forward. God, the worst experience. I can't. I mean, the only thing that comes to mind, and it's really not that bad, is I was bugging out for the day. I was leaving. It was 5 o'clock or whatever, 6 o'clock. And one of the other guys there, an artist, an inker, was behind. And we never shipped the book late. And they needed everybody to pitch in. And they're like, you got to ink 1 page. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just do it tomorrow. Nope, it's got to be done today. So I had to turn right back around, go back to my desk to ink this page. And it just annoyed the crap out of me because most of the guys were always on the ball, and that didn't really happen that often. But this one guy was more known for slacking and stuff and usually needing help. And it was just annoying, because, I mean, you guys know how you're in this mindset. You're literally walking out the door, and then it's like, nope, got to do this.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, damn it. So
my worst experience at CrossGen was I was over to Andy's house, and we didn't live that far. And I was coming back home late at night, and there was we had these back roads. That's how we used to get back and forth to stay off the main thoroughfare, so we could just get there real quickly. I'm pulling out of your development, heading down the road. This cat runs right out in front of me, and I could not turn. I nailed that thing. And I felt bad for the rest of my life.
And you know what's really sad is when they found it and said, "Who did this?" It was the only creature that ever remembered your name.
No, it never got a chance to say anything because the buzzards came and ate that sucker the next morning.
No,
So,
the cat's last words were, "Where's Shelly?"
Exactly.
where's Shelly?
He saw the car. He ran out saying, "Shelly!"
Hey, it's Shelly's car. He comes running over. Aaron smashes it. I
That's
love her,
true, though.
Crunch.
I felt so bad,
Wow.
but it was just boom right out in front of me.
Oh wait, I got it. I got another. I
So
I
that's
do
what
have one
happened
that's
to
good.
Andy's
Worst
cat.
day.
Yeah.
Real quick, worst day ever would be the place was closing down. I left, probably 6-7 months before it was kaput, and the one, all the art was done in house. 90% of it was done in house. We rarely hired somebody that wasn't in the building. And so how do you lose somebody's artwork? Well, go figure. One of my favorite covers that I did on the book I was working on, the first, got lost.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit!
And it was mine to as in the split, because I didn't I didn't ink the covers. You know, I was working with somebody, but this one would have been mine. And to this day, every now and then, like once a year, if I remember, I always post it up going, if anybody sees this original, it was stolen. It's mine. And it was like, if it was a cover, you didn't care, you know, it still sucks. But if it wasn't one I really put a lot of work into or just didn't like that much.
Looking at that cover every day.
You shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
The opening 4 pages of X-Men, the Ultimate X-Men #1, Andy Kubert and myself, not Andy, Adam Kubert and myself, they were, it was lost. I believe it was stolen. The pages were stolen.
Wow.
Never, ever saw the light of day. So the opening sequence of Ultimate X-Men, the originals, as far as I know, don't exist.
Oh, someone's got them.
Yeah,
Scott Williams inked New Mutants '89 cover. The Scott Williams inking over Rob. That cover was stolen from Wildstorm, which is crazy.
I got a 5-page
Yeah.
Pumpkin story that's disappeared as soon as Marvel bought the Ultiverse, and I've never seen it since.
Yeah,
I
that's why in the day we would always
spread.
make 11x17 Xerox copies of all the pages, because that was insurance against, you know. And I'm glad I had those four pages printed, you know, like Xeroxes, because that's what they printed off of, you know, for that, that opening. Yeah.
Oh,
but go ahead.
I had a double-page spread from Nightfall. It was inked by Dick Giordano, and it had Batman punching this guy, and it was a double-page splash of Batman just going across the 2 pages and jamming his fist in this guy's face as it exploding. And the art returns. I was supposed to get the first half of the book, which would include those pages, and they never showed up.
And you know what?
I told DC, and they ended up paying me for them. They paid me the reprint fee or whatever, because the originals were gone. So somebody's got them.
I feel bad when I spill coffee on them in the morning.
That happened to me, DC, but they never paid me. One of my first gigs was helping out on an issue of Starman, not the Tony Harris Starman, but the superhero Starman. And the last page was a splash. Yeah. And, but I mean, he was way off the book it was issue 42. So he was long gone by that point drawing it. But I was helping out, and the last page was a splash page of Lobo on his bike in space. And because it was a splash page, it should have came back to me automatically. Nope.
Oh, man.
Is Gil Kane around at any of these spots?
That's what somebody, that's what Randy, Randy said.
It always goes back to
boy, you caught me.
Yeah.
My boy, it's all a ruse, my boy.
You know what? I was thinking would be fun to do. I just don't have the time to do it. But all the artwork that we've sold over the years and what it's worth right now.
Oh, no.
And then add it all together.
No.
Art, in pain.
That's an exercise in flatulation, man.
I can think of a cover that Dan did that went for $45K. So.
I just got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth.
Yeah, especially you, Art, with the guys you inked. Oh,
yeah,
it's crazy. But anyway, Graham, I think you're up as far as question.
Well, this one comes from Dr. Mask's Retro Elixir. It says,
Mask.
if I were a new writer doing their first comic, what is the most important thing to keep in mind? And that's a tough question, because I'm going to answer it in parts. If we're talking about today, the most important part to keep in mind as a writer is, first and foremost, make sure you entertain with your story. That should be your main goal, telling that story. If you're just talking about in terms of general writing, create characters that people care about. That's the other thing. If you can do that and create characters that people care about, then whatever you put them through, the reader's going to care about that in the story. So, if bad things happen to them, your readers are going to respond to that. So it's really kind of a two-answer question. For today's market, make sure you're entertaining first and foremost, and nobody wants to hear your shit. So don't proselytize. Make sure that your first and foremost idea is to entertain your readers, and then secondly is create characters that are undeniable that people care about.
Yeah,
Excellent.
good advice. Yes.
Great
How about
advice.
you, Mr. Tucci?
Well, if we could share my screen again, I got another
We
question.
can.
I'd just like to share. Why not? Right?
You're a sharer. While you're getting that together, let me read this. Holy shitballs. Neon Knight Rider, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I was listed. What is that?
Listening to someone on YouTube
Some-
talking about Batman Spawn.
Batman Spawn, and said Danny hooked up all the Bat writers, but why not Bat artists? Why Klaus?
Klaus.
I'm not sure I understand.
I don't understand the
Can
question.
anybody?
He wants to know why was Klaus Janson hired for the DC version of Batman Spawn instead of
Danny Mickey? Is that who he means by
Jim
Danny?
Lee or somebody?
I don't know. I wasn't there. I wish I could answer better. Does anybody have an answer to this?
Well, the first
Well,
one,
the one that Klaus
was,
drew, didn't Chuck write that one?
I don't know.
I can't remember
Well,
either.
the joke was from the outside looking in was you had Frank Miller and Todd McFarlane doing his version, and
Right.
then you got I don't
Right.
remember. Did you say was it Chuck wrote it maybe?
I
And then
thought it
Klaus
was.
Janson, and Klaus is a good artist, but he's not like somebody that's going to sell books necessarily. So
Mhm.
it was always kind of the question: why did DC? But anybody they could have put on this book, how did Klaus Janson get this job?
I think because I mean, to me, thinking about it, is that Klaus Janson was part of Dark Knight Returns, and so Frank was part of the other one. So the two
Oh, yeah.
artists was Frank and Klaus, and so Frank worked on the Todd McFarlane version, and then Klaus did the DC version. So that's the only thing I could think of. So it would feel like maybe it was a little bit of a callback to Dark Knight Returns, but
It also back then, DC, respected the creators and gave assignments to people that they felt they owed something to too. Denny O'Neil edited both those books, and he went through a crucible dealing with Frank Miller's script on the first one, on the McFarlane one. I've told the story about when that edited script came back and Denny's head exploded.
I don't know that story. Shit.
Oh, you never heard this story? We were at a Bat conference in Terrytown, and we were sitting out on a patio, and somebody delivered a big manila envelope to Denny, and Denny opens it up, and it's Denny had sent corrections to Miller about the script, and Miller was, at that point, I think he, had a hard-on against DC or something like that, and and if you read the printed version, you can tell Miller is fucking with Batman in that book, and those are the things that Denny was trying to get on model again. That this isn't Dark Knight, this is DC's Batman. Let's keep him on model type thing. So he had all these notes in there. And they come back, and then he opens them up, and he starts looking at the pages that are supposed to be corrected, and he's like this, and he's turning faster, and he's getting angry, and then he just goes, "That motherfucker!"
What was in there?
I remember when that book came out, and I remember reading it, and I was like, Frank didn't write this. It felt like a parody of Frank Miller. It didn't feel like it was sincere. Like it felt like somebody trying to do Frank Miller's style, like writing style, not actually Frank Miller. And I remember being very disappointed until that batarang hit Spawn in the face.
I was underwhelmed with McFarlane's effort on that one too.
Yeah.
The last time we saw McFarlane do Batman was the year 2 stuff and all that sweet iconography that he had done, and you're like, holy shit, Batman, Frank Miller? No way. Like, it seemed like the match made in heaven, and it really just was what do they call that? A dud.
A dud. Yes. A dud. All right, Billy, you're up. Look at that wedding photo. Look at that beautiful couple.
Oh, you're too sweet. Look at Inko. Look at this racist depiction by our Love it. Thank
Hey,
you.
It's like
Oh,
an ink
God.
bottle
My
doing
God.
blackface.
that's
It's an
good
ink bottle
ink.
doing blackface.
Oh,
let
my
me
That's
tell
it's a
you a
bottle. That's a
story about-
bottle of whiteout. What the hell, Art?
Bringing
every
a
time
white
I
out
see this,
ego.
every time I see this, I'm just like, I want to sing about the moon and the June and the spring.
That was an owl.
in blackface.
That was
You know
an
what, Art?
owl, Billy.
You should animate that, but like the 1920s Disney animation, where you know everything moves at one time. You know, they're even when they're standing still, they're moving, and
Yeah,
their
the
rubbery
legs are kind of-
moving.
Yeah, the legs are moving. Yeah,
I just
I
love
was
his
thinking.
gloves.
I was thinking. You know those what was the drive-in movies like the intermission, like the hot
Let's go
dog.
to
comes
the
out.
lobby.
Lobby.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
My theater still plays that. My local theater plays that.
Oh, that's cool.
Is that Judy Garland? Who is that?
Who is what?
This? I don't
Ingo.
know. Who is this, Art? Who's this supposed to be?
Inko?
Yeah,
That's hard to bear as an ink bottle.
It's just a bottle of ink. Yeah, it was kind of like a little gag. I think she was trying to draw me, but there's no goatee. There's just kind of a mustache. It's kind of Groucho Marx-ish, I think.
Yeah, a little Groucho.
So I don't know. I don't know who it's supposed to be honest. I didn't draw it.
Groucho Mars Black, I think. Ink.
Mars Black, yeah.
Oh.
Pelican Black.
No, but
Yeah.
of course we got a great not great super chat. We got a great question by the one, the only Joe Bernardo. Bernardo. Billy, when you created She, did you have any actress in mind to play her? Question mark.
Tia Carrera.
And that was the germ. And what was the germ, the spark, the idea that made you come up with She? Well, I'll tell you, Joe Bernardo. No, I didn't have an actress in mind when I came up with She, at all. But I loved samurai films, and Japanese woodblock prints. Really I learned. We took it. We had an art. One of my classes was looking at art styles that you went from, Japanese woodblock prints to Art Nouveau to Art Deco, etc. And we had to do projects in that particular style. And I just fell in love with the Japanese woodblock prints.
Was this in fabric school?
Yes, this was fabric school. I remember she asked, and here's a trivia thing that my teacher, Miss Tori, I remember she asked, and everyone was shocked. Why they're shocked, I don't know, but I have to keep. I love being everyone pleasantly surprising people. They underestimate me, Graham Nolan. They're always
never underestimate
right.
Billy
So
Tucci.
she said, "Well, and the whole thing, something changed in the world in 1853. Does anyone know what that was?" And I'm like, "Yes, that's when Commodore Perry rode the black ships into Tokyo Harbor and opened and basically, literally faced Japan. Gave Japan the ultimatum to open up trade routes with the West, or you'll be destroyed." And everyone was shocked that I knew that. But I digress. That's just me tooting my own historical horn. No, but I felt
it is a historic horn.
Thank you. I love the
tooting.
Japanese woodblock prints, and that just really kicked off a chain of events that made me want to tell stories. And I started to learn more about. The more I involved in Japanese history I got, the more I wanted to do, a Japanese book. And it was originally called Ran, which is rebellion, and the character was a male character. But the more I got into it, the more research I did, the more entertainment I got into, the more books I bought. I have like 400 books on Japan and Japanese culture and et cetera, and art and everything, that I just fell in love with the culture, and I found out it'd be best if it was a female character. But no, I did not have an actress in mind when I created She. So that's that. There you go.
That's good ink. That's
Thank
Inko's slogan. That's good ink. Well,
That's
very
good
good,
ink.
my friend.
That's
Very
good.
Yeah, I love those origins, and you do get into the history of stuff. So, you guys pick up She, check that out.
Yeah, unless
see
some guy
what it's
calls it
all about.
Orient. Yeah, and then somebody sent me a thing that was on Reddit or something that someone had asked. Have you? I guess they wanted to pick up the omnibus, and they're like, "Have you? What are your thoughts on She?" And one guy just called it Orientalist garbage or something like that. Orientalist misogynistic garbage. Just some assholes who never read the book.
Right.
Italian guy fetishing about Japanese girls, and she dresses like a whore and all that. So,
Wow.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Heard you actually.
I always liked. I remember when I first saw the character design, the padded sleeves and stuff, and then it gets thick here, like on the sides, and then tapers. I thought that was a really cool design, kind of like the quilted
Yeah, it says
pattern.
farmer underneath it. That's why. So thank you.
Yeah, it looks cool. Let me
Hey,
Neon
Richard
Knight.
Chamberlain. I just saw Citizen Ronan. Well, Richard Chamberlain is still with us, by George. He is in his 90s. My friend Stephen Peros, who wrote he was my writing partner on the She trilogy series, and will be writing the next one, Battleship Island. He spent last Sunday with him. Him and his girlfriend went over there, and Richard is there with his boyfriend or his husband, and they had a great dinner. And they said they're both in their 90s, and these guys are in incredible shape and sharp.
Wait, this is the guy who was Shogun?
Yeah, Richard Chamberlain's still with us.
He was a musketeer too, right?
He was a musketeer.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite versions of the Three Musketeers. Neon Knight Rider, is that supposed to be Denny, like Denny O'Neil?
Yeah,
It's got to be Denny O'Neil.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand now. So Denny put all 3 Bat writers on that book, and they got a huge payday. Why not hook up all the Bat artists also? Denny knew it was going to have royalties. The pencilers and artists got royalties.
He's talking about why didn't he pull whoever was penciling the Bat
teams.
books monthly at the time, those guys.
Like Graham Nolan.
And I'm assuming it's because they were penciling the monthly Bat books.
Yeah, they're on Bat books.
Klaus,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Klaus actually has a history of drawing issues of Batman in the 80s. He pencil and inked some issues. So it's not that Klaus never drew Batman. He did. So that's
I like
my
Klaus's
guess.
version of the Punisher. I think he does a great Punisher.
Oh, this Punisher's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
his
well
colors
I'm
are
going
great.
to wrap this up with my question, and here we go. Boom, baby. All right, so here's my Twitter. I'm going back to Twitter. So I'm going to read Randy Howell's. Art, you said the comic industry runs through 5 or 10 year cycles. What's next for Comicsgate? So first, what I meant by that was that usually trends in comic books go for about 8 to 10, actually. So like, the West Coast look, the Neil Adams, the Jack Kirby, like these kind of looks, or these kind of
artistic styles.
Artistic styles kind of would dominate, and sometimes it would even be like Image Comics, or like different movements would kind of last for 8 to 10 years. So the way I see it as far as Comicsgate, and you guys can all chime in because I think it'd be interesting to get your feedback, is I think we're approaching our middle of Comicsgate, so like the 5-year kind of aspects of it. And so at this point in time, I see it only as growth, and I do see, and I've said it before, if we can go 3 to 5 years with Comicsgate, it will at the very least be a footnote in comics history. Like, I think it'll be a mention, and I think we've gotten to that point now where it's undeniable. Comicsgate is on the map. When comics are talked about, they'll have to mention this moment in time. They have to talk about Comicsgate. Where it goes after this, I think it's really going to depend on how many more people we can get into the to be entertained by the books, to come into the Comicsgate, into the arena, and also just like new talent, like Graham came in not too long ago, Billy, Andy, Aaron. I mean, that's fairly new. And so I do think that that's going to continue to happen. I think more so now than ever. And I know we all have private conversations with people like that. So I think that we will definitely go a 10-year cycle. And I see growth potential here that is still very much untapped. So I'm going to throw this to the rest of you guys and see what you have to say.
I have to say yes and no. I agree and disagree. I agree that there's definitely cycles. Those are almost like flavors of things. Like for a while, I remember when it was like barbarians and monsters and kung fu, and then it was like superheroes and tights, and then it was like the dark anti-hero stuff. That's one thing, but I feel like Comicsgate is bigger. Like I always equate it with the early Marvel stuff, like the paradigm shift, and I give it way more than 10 years. That's
well, I would say that as long as Biden doesn't continue to screw the economy to a point that it affects people's ability just to like sell product of any kind. But taking that aside, I think I'm not sure. I think mainstream comics have just killed themselves, and I don't know that they can recover because I don't think they're willing to recover.
No.
And so that throws the ball into our lap. And what we do with it over the next 5 years or whatever is going to determine the longevity of this. And is crowdfunding a thing that's going to stay the course, and that's going to be the blueprint for selling books going forward, or is another sort of distribution going to rise up? But in terms of us being a creative force, the ball is in our court right now because Marvel and DC are doing everything they can to burn down their properties and send people running to us for good product. And for the most part, I think we're delivering that right now. So I think if we can't continue to do that, and an interest in comics continues, then I think we're in a good position.
Yeah. From if I may, from the amount of pros that have come up to me in my travels, and basically tell us that they watched our shows. A lot of them love the bros too, though, because they see that we're normal people, and I think we normalize CG because we're not saying things that the vast majority of comic pros or comic creators disagree with at all. They agree with us. They're just terrified to say so. And more, the less work they get because of how the failing of the big two and how they're failing so bigly, the more and more of them are coming towards crowdfunding and wanting our assistance, sticking up for us. If you saw that, a couple of pros that you wouldn't think would have stuck up for us over the summer, and that's it. I think that it's growing. It feels just like when I first got into comics, when I self-published, I just saw that this pendulum swinging big time to a really big high swing coming towards the independents and creator-owned books. And what's fortunate for us, what makes us different, is because this was a time where we were all in the direct market, and you had there was somebody on the other side pushing that pendulum back towards the big two, and that was because of the distribution wars, and they basically through Diamond Comics, Image, Marvel, DC, they literally did everything they could to crush the independents, and that's when they had the premier publishers, Dark Horse, books like that, and now the independent publishers like me say I'm C for Crusade Comics. I say in 1996, 97, I'm on page 24 of previews. Come 1999, I'm on page 224 because Diamond pushed all their main publishers, their premier publishers to the front. And then it said, and the best of the rest. We were like fucking Gilligan. We were like Marianne and the Professor before they mentioned him in the first season of
and the rest.
Yeah, exactly. That's what of Gilligan's Island. But I think more and more creators are joining. More and more people are looking at the fans wanting better content, and the big two is not delivering that content. So,
yeah,
and that's the bottom line.
Ditto.
Yeah, I think the biggest hurdle is getting a larger fan base. And getting people more comfortable, like mom and pop, everyday people, more comfortable with the idea of purchasing through either websites or through Indiegogo campaigns or whatever the platform may be. I think that's the focus that we have to be working on, is to build that audience around our movement. and let more and more people know that it's safe. You can do this. You're supporting the art form that you love. You're supporting these artists as well, and you're getting incredible products.
Yeah, and if I may, about expanding your audience, like I said, I got a lot of shit because I did Kickstarter. Well, I was doing Kickstarter before Indiegogo. Our first campaign was exclusively Kickstarter. I didn't even know what Indiegogo was. And then when Zombie Sama came out, 3 years ago, we did our first, until Ethan's like, you got to do Indiegogo. And I did it a few weeks later. But our Indiegogo audience, again, this is what it's all about, normalizing CG. My Indiegogo, I'm looking at the latest campaign, SHAKURA. We had Indiegogo launched 8 days after Kickstarter launched 8 days after Indiegogo. And our Kickstarter in that 30 days or 28 days compared to our Indiegogo's first 30 days, again, it launched a week later. We got 2 more Kickstarter backers in total than we had Indiegogo backers.
It was close.
Yeah. Those people are there. We had, I'm looking at it, we had, and they're both big numbers. One's 92,000 for Kickstarter and one's 97,000 for Indiegogo. So, you've got, the audience is there. You just have to just be cool and get your books out, get your books done, and make good books. And just be yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a lot of
I think one of the
kids are watching us.
Yeah, one of the cool things that we have is that we're all accessible, which Marvel and DC are not. We're personalities. We're accessible. We get to talk to people and interact like this. We're taking questions directly from people. Yeah. We're answering them, and this is something that's never happened in the industry before. I mean, we're definitely taking advantage of the technology of the time, and we're able to be the face for our own IPs. We're able to interact and talk about what interests us, and then hopefully, and it's been working, we're attracting an audience, and anybody that's listening right now, keep posting stuff, on your social media, get the word out, tell everybody, how cool, Comicsgate and how cool, these IPs that we're creating are. And I do think as the industry is kind of, I guess, shrinking, in a more traditional way, and they're going in a different direction, I think we're going to get more audience, and I think we're definitely going to get more professionals. I just think there's a lot of people that don't have that freedom or that independent spirit that we all share. We've always had it. I mean, I look back at my career early on. I worked in the independents, and when I went to the mainstream, it wasn't really by choice. It was more necessity because they paid. They were reputable, and they paid, and they paid on time. So I needed a steady paycheck. So I think that lives within us, and we'll continue. And I know there's other people like that. They're just kind of afraid right now. They're just not really sure what DC and Marvel are going to be moving forward. I think for us, it's fairly clear. Like we understand it. We see the writing on the wall, but a lot of people just don't.
They also don't have the work ethic too. A lot of them, because they might have spent their entire career as a penciler, but they don't have inking skills. They don't have writing skills. They don't have a personality that they can get out and be in front of their product, or they don't have the desire to do that. Those are skills you have to have if you're going to create boutique comics that are your own products. You have to have all those skills, and if you don't, you got to develop them. Otherwise you're going to die in the vine when you get out there.
Yep. And there are so many people too that when you say people are afraid, there's a lot of people that watch our shows. They love the Kings, right? I can tell you, people come up to me that they never proclaim their Comicsgate. They never say anything negative about Comicsgate. They just don't care. There are a lot of people who don't give a shit about any of this stuff. They just like watching us. They like how much fun we all have, and they want to support us, especially like Graham was leading up to till I interrupted him, and I apologize. They're just tired of being disappointed by the big two. Consistently being disappointed, these fans are.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good place to be. I think there's still growth. There's still potential. this is kind of me patting myself on the back, but all through my career, somehow I've always managed to be where things are happening. So Superman, Death of Superman, X-Men, West Coast, look, Image Comics, the Ultimates, even Cliffhanger early on, like all these things. And I just think like, this is it. This is what's happening right now. This is the big comics movement. And I think it's going to go, when I say 10 years, I think that's the least it's going to do. I think, like going strong with growth, but it will go beyond, and it will go on as long as people want it to. There has to be a drive and want. And so as long as we keep creating stuff that the people like and want to support, and as long as we can keep getting new voices in here, that's why I think we have so much growth potential too, because there's the older guys like us, but there's a lot of new people coming in too, like fresh faces, new people, and we share platforms and we raise each other up. And 40 years in this business, I've never seen anything like this at all. Period, flat out. I mean, I saw somebody talk about infighting and late books and stuff like that. That's going to tear things down. But there's always going to be that. Every industry has those aspects to it. But we've also showed within the short period of time that there's been a lot of internal struggle. There's been a lot of people coming from the outside trying to tear us down. And I'll tell you, none of it's worked. And it's only made us stronger. And back to what Billy was saying, I think it's also at this point, like with the bros' help, it's kind of redefining what Comicsgate is. Like it's open. Anybody wants to come on in. You know what I mean? Like none of us are really gatekeeping. There is no like secret code or unions or anything like that. Just start making a comic book, start networking, and hang out, and things will happen for you. So I think it has plenty of growth potential still. And I think that's a great place to leave it. Should we try to go to the chat and get a couple questions, or do you guys want to wrap?
We're already 6:30, dude. I gotta go make dinner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aaron's got to make
Right,
dinner. Dan's about to fall asleep.
So I'm about to go all black.
Yeah, you're losing your light, man.
Yeah. I got the
Graham,
porch
once you
light
go
on.
black, you never go back.
That's the only thing that's keeping me lit. I got a porch light here.
That's a killer ass porch light, man. Your lighting is perfect on you,
right?
If you had dark hair, though,
yeah,
part of you would be gone right now.
I get that.
The top part, yeah. All right, man. Well, I want to thank everybody in the chat. You guys are badass mofos. Thank you so much for all the super chats. Thanks for the support. Oh shit!
One more $10 super chat.
Right under the. Oh wait. I also want to go back to Jose Garcia. A Neon Knight Rider, $10. I think one of the biggest problems is that most people that read comics are not comics fans. They are Batman, Spider-Man, etc. fanboys. They don't really care what it is that makes a comic special. Yeah, I can see that.
You have a lot of. I think you could say that most people that write comics are not comics fans.
Now, yeah, absolutely.
I completely agree with you there. There was kind of a flip side of that where there was like a lot of this was years ago, like, oh well, comics are just made by a bunch of fanboys, so it's all incestuous, nonsense. But I'll tell you, I would much rather that than what's being done right now.
Yeah.
We got Jose Garcia in the chat here. That's not. Anyways, I just want to say hi, Jose.
I got my Lumina Vox, so thank you.
Yeah, brilliant artist. Really unique style. This is one of those things we're talking about. Just unique artists coming into CG, publishing, putting out. Just brilliant work. So thanks for being here. Do appreciate you. And we'll do a quick round robin, then we'll wrap it up. So, Dan, you got anything to promote?
Get well rested daily, friends. Try to
you.
get at least 8 hours of sleep.
That's beautiful.
Dan, I can do the math. You're not getting 8 hours tonight.
Oh my God.
Oh, are you done? Can we
Yes.
move along?
Yes.
Rate the five blood hunters. We have about 2
I'm
to
gonna
3
mute
weeks
Dan.
max, when the campaign wraps up. So if you want to get in there and back it, please do before we run out of time. And also, I'll be launching a Kit Carter graphic novel very soon, right on the heels of the Blood Hunter campaign ending. So
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes. So Andy Smith, any words of
Draft the
wisdom?
Reckoning. Core Draft the Reckoning. As you know, I finished the interior art. The colorist is working on it. We're getting pages lettered. Bud Root is working on his 4-page Lilith story.
Yes.
For when we hit 100,000. Add 4
Sexy.
pages to the book to make it 80 pages of glorious barbarian action.
Nice.
Go
Holy
check
shit.
it out and back it. And the t-shirt beanies are are in production, and it should be about another 3 to 4 weeks, and I'll have them and start shipping them out.
Sweet. How
Well,
about
as
Mr.
everybody
Nolan?
knows, I haven't been on any streams for a while because I've just been hunkering down and getting out the Ghost of Metakumba's Key pages, because except for the Bros, that's the only show I've been doing right now. And as it turns out, I'm making good headway. I've only got 16 pages left of the main story. So I'm working hard on that. We just got 500 Shanu plushies delivered. Those will be going up on my website in September at some point. Yeah, if you haven't checked out Ghost of Metakumba Key, go to the Compass Comics website. You can get the link there because it's one of those shadow banned ones. So that you can
Also,
definitely
you guys, yeah, the link is in the description. All of the links to all of our IPs are in the description as well. So, Teen Sensation, what do you got for us?
I want to thank everybody. Sakura Omnibus passed $200,000 yesterday. Thank you so much. The book is going to press, if not the end of this week. The only thing they're waiting on is my acknowledgments letter. And I find that to be the hardest thing, is to write a thank you, you know? And I want to cover all the stuff with this book of what we did, because it was such a special book. But
Yeah, because you don't want the thank yous to be too gay.
Yeah, not gay or not gay enough. Got to go all gay.
You got to
Fraga,
know.
right, Fraga?
Well, no, I mean, just anything from the heart, man.
That's
Love
what it is.
love.
So yeah,
Love is love.
Yes, and
Love is love, man love.
Very special book. Anyway, so that book goes to the printer. I was supposed to go to Pennsylvania to go visit Penn State with my son tomorrow and my wife, but I'm not because I got to finish this book. And go to the like I said, go to the printer Friday, get our proofs, or go Monday, and we'll get our proofs, and that book will start fulfilling next month. So thank you all. Boom.
there it is.
Yes, yes, indeed. So I want to thank everybody for all the support on my IP, Black and White, Man versus Machine, Volume 2. I am 3 pages away from finishing the main story. I still do have a 4-page backup, which is more of an epilogue, but 2 of those pages is already penciled. I couldn't resist because they're sexy as all hell. So I kind of jumped forward on those. So I do want to thank everybody for giving me the time to produce such. I think it's the best thing I've ever done, and I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you
That
so
latest
much.
update, Art. That latest update was great. Those pages look freaking fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah,
Really
thank
nice
you, man. That means a lot coming from the talent in this chat. So I do appreciate it, and thanks you guys so much for hanging with the bros for the last 2.5 hours. This is a rotating show every week. We pass it on from artist to artist. So who is next? Is it Billy? Tucci? Billy Tucci, you host
Billy
next
the
week.
Tucci.
Yeah, I got an idea, but we'll talk about it.
Save it.
Yeah, let's see.
It's brewing. Billy's got an idea, and it's brewing. Look at you can see the steam coming off his head right now. Sizzle.
Special, special.
A little sizzle.
Well, it's been a great time. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next
Art.
week on
Thanks
Bill-
everybody
yeah,
for the
thank you.
questions.
Yeah,
Bye,
and
you
we'll see
guys.
you next
Thanks,
week.
Art. Great show,
Pop XP.
Oh my
Push
god!
the
I'll see you
button.
next week. Take care.
Push the button.
Good night.
I'm gonna push it.